Welcome, everybody, to episode number 44 of the Dragon's Den podcast here on my YouTube, on my X, Facebook, Rumble. We're everywhere tonight, and hopefully tonight we'll have much better internet connections, because last week was a disaster, I should say, on my part at least. So hopefully things will go off more without a hitch tonight. I'm joined tonight by Big Goose Brandon in the middle, his wife Miranda on the far right. We got Matthew on the bottom, who thinks my Wi-Fi still sucks, and the Faceless Dragon Aaron joining us here at the beginning of the show too as well. So how's everything going tonight, guys? Long week?
I don't know. I was off today, so I don't care.
Yeah, tell me about it. I had the flu at the beginning of the week, I believe.
You still sound like shit, too.
Yeah, if I mean that congested.
I'm like,
yeah.
There's no other way to put it. You still sound like ass.
I probably still, I mean, it's, first 3 days was, I mean, it was awful. I mean, today I'm feeling a lot better, but still a little congested, things like that. So getting over it, fighting through it. So we got a big show tonight, though. So yeah.
By Wednesday of this week, when I dumped half a can of pop on myself going to the bank, I was done.
Oh, really?
Brother, she texted me Wednesday. I'm at work. She texted me, and she was like, I was like, how I talked to her every break or whatever. The first break I go in, I text her, I said, how's it going? And she just goes, well, it was not a good start to her day. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
No, before that, I went to make a cup of coffee and didn't have a cup underneath the thing. So it went everywhere. That was before I even went to work. So.
Not good. Yeah, that's the type of day you just go, nope, we'll call in today. Yeah. Just not in the cards.
I would call myself and say, I'm not coming in.
Hey.
So
would you accept that call, though? You'd be like,
yeah.
No.
And you'll be like, PTO approved. Best PTO you ever took. Got a couple comments already here. We got our loyal listener, Slara the Assassin, says, hello, Dragon's Den friends. Nice to see you as well, Slara. And, of course, Mike's in the chat. This week was a healthy week here after last week's strep throat fiasco. Ooh, that sucks. Only the little one made it unscathed. Man, y'all got it, huh?
Sometimes, even when the little ones make it, that's the best part. Like...
Yeah,
like I would.
Well, it sounds like 3 out of the 4 didn't.
Well, I'm saying, like, yeah. I'll take any of the times that I like, when the kids were a lot younger too, and we were all in a smaller space, and like when one of us got sick, then without fail, everybody was getting it. If nobody made it out, like if somebody made it out without being sick, the next time it happened, it was gonna be worse for them. But like. I would have gladly traded a lot of the times for just me being sick than the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, like, there's no pleasing, especially a small baby, like a baby, there's no pleasing it. Because, like, you don't know what's wrong. They don't know what's wrong. They just know they don't feel good. And
they can't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it even tougher for sure.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm a big kid too when I get sick, so I get like very, aggravated. A lot of times it's just best for me to stay away from people, But what really sucked about it was my head hurt so much that it hurt to like even just like look at the television or any screen. So it's just like, you know what? It just sucked because all I could do was like close my eyes. That was the only thing I could really do. It was like, man, I couldn't even like catch up on things I wanted to watch and stuff. But
you want to talk about a baby when they're sick? Yeah, you're looking at him. I hate it. Like, I hate that feeling. And I just want to lay down. Like, don't touch me. Just leave me alone. I'm sick. Somebody make me some soup. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, credit to Aaron. He of course. Yeah, of course, credit to Brandon and Aaron. I mean, I usually get like texts from people at work, especially because they're like, "Where are you? You okay?" Yeah. And Aaron was nice enough. He's like, "Do you need us to get you anything?" I was like, "That's nothing a trip from Walmart delivery won't fix." So I get some, Campbell's soup and all that stuff. So
I usually give you a day.
Yeah,
I give everybody a day, and then I'm like, "All right, they're not here," and I didn't hear from them. So then that's when I'll text you.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way.
One of those still alive type texts, Did you?
Yeah, you making it? You okay, bro? I mean, I appreciate the wellness check because somebody's got to check up on me every now and then because I don't.
Once in a while, and I'm like, Nah, let me go ahead and see what the fuck Eric doing.
But you know me, that like there's been times like, well, like even if I'm feeling good, I'll take like 3 or 4 days off. Like I just don't want to work. But you know, and that's my prerogative. But right now it's just kind of down to sick time and stuff. So it's kind of like, well, I don't want to take as much as possible. Slara said that glad I work from home, but sorry you all are getting sick. I wish companies would give people more sick leave. Actually, our job finally did give us some more. But unfortunately, it's only like 5 days a year for just sick time. We get other paid time off, but they never gave us sick time at all before. So it's kind of nice they finally added that. I'll say that. Saved my bacon this last week for sure. Then Mike said, I worked with you. I thought something was wrong when you had PTO and did come to work. That's true. Because Mike remembers this too. Because like I would get PTO and like at the beginning of the year in January, a lot of times I'd be out of the yearly PTO by February. Or March at least at the earliest, Valentine's Day.
You will be this year too.
No, because I get PTO now in July. It might be by the time football season starts, but
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But even Mike had a bet with me one year. Like if I could save one PTO day till the December of that year, I think he paid me $100 or something like that. I think is what it was. Failed it real quick.
Jesus.
But it's funny. Mike. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to pay him $100 if I didn't make it. So yeah, he made that money. But since then, though, ironically enough, I usually keep PTO for the most part all year round nowadays, with the exception of maybe the last few months. But yeah,
I was telling somebody about this too. We were talking about the whole PTO or all this. I said, I don't think I've ever used remember when we had the call-ins? Like, I don't think I used the call-in. I didn't burn through all my PTO. I never used. I barely use my floating holiday. I forget it's there.
But now you're over 40.
The only reason you lost your perfect attendance is because of Anaya's trip to the hospital.
Yeah,
that would do it too. And that's the thing that work sometimes doesn't, and jobs in general don't take into account. If something happens with your kids or something, that's not necessarily your fault, but you got to take care of the kids. But you get penalized for it because you got to work it out. This kind of stinks. But I don't know what Mike
says. That's what your PTO is for.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes you get sick or other things too.
It was Aaron, the day after.
I think I've heard that line before.
It was what?
It was December 27th.
Yeah.
He couldn't use PTO because it was after the holiday.
Oh, gotcha. If you didn't schedule it beforehand, it's don't count.
Yeah.
Technicality.
I know.
Our job. Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah. That's bull crap.
I can't decide when my blood clot decides the fucking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Aaron? I think I've heard it.
But I'm glad you're alive.
Yes, I'm still kicking. Yeah, I thought the same thing about you guys today, but I was like, nah, they're just taking the day off or something. Yeah. But if I don't see him tonight or I don't see him on Monday, then I'd be a little more worried.
Well, you almost didn't see me tonight. I'm gonna be real honest. I did not sleep.
He was sleeping
for shit last night. Like I did not.
That makes going to work even more fun.
I'll tell you why.
Too much Monster Hunter Wild?
Nope.
No?
Mm-hmm.
It was WWE 2K.
WWE.
I knew it was one of the two. I haven't cracked it much yet, but I'm working on it.
I was like, I'll start the My Rise thing and then I'll stop. You know what I'm saying? I'll just get to the character creation.
Then you gotta finish it.
Yeah.
I started the character creation part at
and I know Brandon. Yeah.
It was at 12:15. The next time I looked at the clock, it said 2:38. And I went,
oh my.
And I wasn't even done.
How many characters were you in? Just the same first one? The first one? Oh my. Man, it's in depth, huh?
And then I got mad, deleted the whole thing, and restarted it. By the time I got done, it was 3:15. And I was like, I'm going to bed.
Man. If you didn't have to go in for overtime, it might not have been too bad. Mm-hmm. You could have maybe made it, but yeah. Quick question though: did you? I don't know how much you know about the supercharger part of it. Like if you buy that, it unlocks everything. Mm-hmm. Just a quick question. I noticed a lot of things were still locked. I'm assuming some of that stuff you got to go through and still unlock yourself.
Yes, it still said you have to unlock through the game, through playing the My Rise,
the showcase,
and there's a lot. Your showcase and the island.
Oh my! And well, see, I got the PC version too. That doesn't have the island on it at all.
Yeah, the island is exclusively to PlayStation.
Yeah, which part of me is kind of glad about because I really don't know how much I'll play of that unless I have to on PlayStation. But the rest of it I'm looking forward to because I played a match or two last night, and I'm not gonna lie, the gameplay is far more fun this year. Mm-hmm. It just feels smoother. It's cleaner. Yeah. It's just it doesn't feel like you got to wait for everything. It just feels like more arcadey. It just, I don't know, it was more fun to me. So
it was more responsive. I'll give it that.
I'm hoping I'll be able to mod the PC version I got. I'd like to be able to.
Probably. I've seen somebody already as Captain America playing.
Oh my God. I don't know if I'll do that, but I'd like to add some of those.
Brandon, is it Sam's Captain America or is it Chris?
Yeah, it was Sam's. No, it was Sam.
You gotta do both. There's nothing wrong with both. And then get
hey Brandon,
US agent too.
Yes.
I wonder if Jaden would mod if he had it on the PC.
Probably.
I just gotta learn how to do everything and what programs and everything. I did a little bit on Fire Pro, but this is a whole new level for me because this is like much more detailed.
You know what? While we're talking about this, let's go right into the whole wrestling topic.
That is exactly what we're going to do. Yeah. So good segue there, Brandon. All right, let's do that. Then let's talk about the big event that happened last week. All right. So the moment that many fans believed would never come actually came 20 years later.
From a mile away.
Yeah, not to mention, we talked about it last week here on this channel right before the internet went out. I
don't want to say like I know wrestling, but I called this shit like months ago when I was pitching the idea for John's last little run at WrestleMania. I said, let him turn heel. And I said, I think it'll be the biggest shock ever. We change this slide.
This looks like the true John Cena. Okay. Yeah. That happy-go-lucky John Cena, that was fake. This is John Cena. He looks
have you ever watched Total Divas where like Nikki Bella tried to make him dinner and like he was so obsessed with his marble countertops? Yeah. Oh, I was like, dude, lighten up.
Yeah, I did see some of those. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if he's like that in real life or if he was kind of a character too. I don't know. But I was like, man, this gorgeous woman's making you dinner. Just let it happen, man.
But
you know,
when this happened, though, I was like, first of all, I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah,
like I really didn't. And then
they actually did it, type thing.
Not only that, but the crowd, it was like they were all waiting for it. Didn't want it to happen, but they were waiting for it to happen because he didn't get booed. Everybody was like, holy shit. And it's funny because, like I said, we talked about this before. John Cena was always one of those guys that, like, I don't think he could have turned heel. Like, short from like, and this is gonna sound fucked up when I say it, like, but short from him slapping a Make-A-Wish kid, like nobody was gonna believe it.
More like Break-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah.
But they put him up against. Think about this, dude. They made Cody Rhodes the ultimate underdog champion babyface, right?
Which he kind of already was, but this furthers it, yeah.
But he's such a babyface that another huge babyface was able to turn heel off of the emotions of the crowd because of him.
Yeah. Which I won't tell you my thought on it here in just a second, but
go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, John Cena turning heel and selling his soul to the final boss, The Rock, at Elimination Chamber, all in order to win world title number 17. But yeah, I mean, this was just flawlessly executed. Now, the one thing I kind of wondered was like, why did Travis Scott have to be here in this moment?
Yeah, I don't either.
But at the same time, not only that, Travis Scott gave Cody Rhodes a black eye and a busted eardrum because he slapped him so hard when he was on the mat. Yeah. I think he just kind of got caught up in the emotion because there's this video going around online of Travis Scott, you know, backstage after this happened and talking about how the vibes were surreal. And he said it was like higher than like, you know, actually performing at a concert. So, and Hunter and Rock both gave him a hug and they were excited for him. But yeah, he slapped the crap out of Cody Rhodes here when he was on the ground. And Cody's not been on, I don't think he was on SmackDown yet tonight anyway, but he's not been on television in this last week, partially for that reason alone.
I wouldn't be on television either if John Cena slapped me at the end of his career and I looked like an idiot.
Yeah,
I wasn't on TV either.
Anyway, he wouldn't have been there anyway. I mean, post beatdown, regardless, I don't think he would have.
Yeah, you're selling it, so it makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, that Travis Scott shit is crazy.
Not only that, what made it even better at the post-show media scrum, John Cena showed up, and he didn't say a word. He pulled the microphone off the little stand there and just dropped it and walked out. So, again, didn't answer a single question, just kind of deadpan, and we haven't seen him since. So again, flawlessly done. This is one of the better, heel turns in professional wrestling history. On par, I would say, with Hulk Hogan joining the NWO way back in the day. It definitely had that, the baby face you never thought would go bad. And all of a sudden, John Cena just out of nowhere, like Hulk Hogan, did the same thing here. So yeah, I mean, I can't praise this enough. One of the better storylines that WWE has probably done, obviously, since last year's WrestleMania with the Bloodline and all that stuff. So very well executed, in my opinion. Now, the championship match is officially set now for WrestleMania 41, as John Cena, before this heel turn, won the Elimination Chamber match on his own. Kind of in a heel tactic sort of way, though, by kind of taking advantage. Well, himself getting the final pinfall.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But he went like a heel kind of would, and he took advantage of the situation once, CM Punk got stomped, sure. But, yeah. And it was kind of weird, too, because as he's choking CM Punk, he's yelling, "I'm sorry," as he's doing that, which I thought was interesting, too. But, so yeah, Cody defending against Cena at WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer is also reporting that the original plan was for John Cena, his heel turn, to happen at WrestleMania, but the decision was made to do it last weekend instead. Many reports are also suggesting that the original plan, as Mike mentioned in the chat, was for Cody Rhodes to actually be the one to turn heel and join The Rock, but Cody Rhodes refused to turn heel, much like he did in AEW. However, in this case, I think Cody is right because he's so over as a babyface now, so it wouldn't make much sense to turn him heel right now. But as Brandon pointed out, it gave the opportunity for someone else who was a mega babyface to finally go heel. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and Cody was absolutely right here in my opinion. Now, WWE appears to have wanted to build hype for Mania with this, which is why I think they decided to go with it a little bit sooner, as Mike also pointed out in the chat too. But would it maybe have been better waiting until WrestleMania to do the turn? Because now if John Cena loses, what did it accomplish? Had you waited till the big show, the element of surprise would have explained how Cena was able to win the belt and actually have a narrative reasoning for why. But now that Cena in storyline runs the risk of losing, and if that happens, this whole thing feels a little bit mismanaged to me. But could this have been a case of the rumors now out there, because we talked about it on the podcast last week, so should we do it now before the idea becomes expected? So thoughts on maybe, did they pull the trigger too soon, or just the right timing for you?
No,
what do you think?
It's wrestling.
Yeah?
It's wrestling. No. And he's not going to lose, or Cody's going to lose the title.
Yeah, I don't see why you'd pull this trigger of making Cena heel and not have Cena win the belt. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It would feel mismanaged if they do it that way.
I don't think it was mistimed or too early. No, I think it was perfect for the situation. You paid off The Rock's threat from, what was it, War Games? When he came out?
Yeah. Oh, Rock, you mean?
Yeah.
When he come with the 3 or whatever? Everybody's wondering, too, since he was holding up the 3 there when he come back, and everybody's like, what the hell is he doing? And then when he cut his throat when the Cena turn, he held up the number 2 as he was doing it. So people are wondering if there's, like, another person involved still. That's my one thing about it, is since you did the turn at Elimination Chamber now, before WrestleMania, that tells me you better have something bigger in your, up your sleeve for WrestleMania, or something on par, because otherwise WrestleMania is going to feel like a bit of a letdown. You see what I'm saying? If you'd have saved this for Mania, it would have been huge. I mean, it was huge as it was, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it would have been the main event of the biggest show of the year for this turn. But maybe they just didn't want to like do the same thing that they did at WrestleMania 17 with, Austin and Vince. And so in that regard, I kind of get it.
Again, we don't know for sure. None of us are in that damn room. They may have something bigger planned for Mania.
Yeah, and I hope that's what it is. Now, I know Stone Cold Steve Austin was being interviewed by somebody and was asked about, not being able to go to WrestleMania last year during the whole Bloodline Rules match, and Taker took his place, basically. Now, he did flat out say that this year he'd be available, so if Cody needs help, Stone Cold Steve Austin may actually show up to kind of even the odds a little this time, which could be interesting in and of itself with the history between The Rock and him, too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to see where this goes. Slara said in the chat that Cena tapped into his first Peacemaker role. He did kind of, yeah, you're right. Exactly. In the Suicide Squad movie. Absolutely. Love that aspect of it for sure. But Cena also woke up and said, F them kids. That's basically what he did here this morning. So basically just woke up and said that. When this happened, it was as if millions of kids' voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Yes.
Man. The videos of the little kids.
And here's a couple of them. Here's a couple of them. This little kid here is throwing out every bit of John Cena memorabilia he's ever bought or gotten as a gift, including the Peacemaker doll, as you see right here.
What the heck are you doing?
Throwing away all this crap.
What crap? Ryder. It's just... Dude, it's a storyline.
Kids were going through it, boy. I tell you what. Here's a few more. This kid is inconsolable. Inconsolable.
John Cena and The Rock, I hate them so much.
Oh.
Now, hold on, pause it for 1 sec.
Yeah.
This is how you know. Again, this is the part of wrestling that I love and I enjoy. Like, because to them, you remember the meme, it's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah.
To them, it is.
Yeah.
These are superheroes to them. You know, and again, having met a couple, but having to have Jaden meet somebody that he idolized in the wrestling business, Rey Mysterio, get a picture with him, get autograph, like that's what it's about. So when you see these videos, as funny as they are, this is what wrestling is. I get it. It's choreographed. It's whatever.
So are movies.
This is what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a story being told. It's
that
a
heartbreak is real.
It's a circus that goes on tour and tells stories, and it's a male soap opera, as they once put it.
Yeah.
So people who criticize pro wrestling just don't understand it as much, I think, in my opinion.
No,
but,
because if you did, you'd be just as upset as his kid is.
Yeah. Even I was stunned. I'm going, they actually pulled it off.
We're stunned because we're in, you have knowledge of wrestling, right?
Yeah, I was like a smart fan. Yeah,
stunned in the fact that like they can still get you.
Yeah.
See, that's what it is too. A lot of the people in the wrestling community, they feel like they can't be got.
Mm-hmm. We've seen it all. We've been like, I've watched wrestling for 30 plus years now. I feel like I've seen everything, but when they can get you and go, didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
that's that moment that it's about, and sometimes they're few and far between, but you know what? Those are the moments worth watching for.
Yep.
It's like that Avengers Endgame moment when Cap, lifts Mjolnir for the first time. It's like, oh my God, it's one of those deals, so this was, again, perfectly done, well executed. But the question is, so why Cena? Why? That will always be kind of the moniker in pro wrestling when a babyface good guy turns and becomes a despicable heel. Well, this guy has his reasonings on why John Cena turned heel, and I thought was kind of funny. So let's check it out.
You guys seriously don't know why I did it. Here, let's run through my last few years in WWE and see if we can figure it out. WrestleMania 39. I lose a United States title match to a meathead who hasn't been interesting since he stopped taking selfies, and who is currently stuck in the most dead-end tag team since the Ascension. Crown Jewel later that year, I lose to a fat Weekend cosplayer. Royal Rumble this year, I lose to Jey Uso. If you told me 10 years ago that one day I would lose to the guy who dresses like a highlighter and does the haka on his way to the ring, I would have dropped you on the spot. Bears, don't be mad at me just because you haven't been relevant since 2017. Yeah, neither has your catchphrase. Guys, I haven't won a singles match in 2,500 days. I am continually losing to people that 2010 John Cena would have buried so hard, you would have needed an excavator and a search and rescue team to dig them out. I've just come to terms with the fact that if I want to win a 17th championship, which I do, I'm gonna need some help. Plus, I've been waiting to let out this darker side for a long time. Do you think it's fun getting booed by at least half the crowd your entire career, despite granting hundreds of Make-A-Wishes and carrying this company on your back for 2 decades? I've been wanting to tell these people to f off for years, but every time I brought it up to the old man, it was, oh, sorry, pal, you sell too much merch and we don't have another babyface to take your place. But now we have Cody, so in a way, he's the reason I was able to finally show this side of me. And now I'm gonna take his title, and afterwards, I'm gonna piss on his dad's grave. Okay, that's messed up. He's almost completely lost it. I don't even recognize him. Oh, and R-Truth? You. All right, come on, man. Pissing on Dusty's grave is one thing, but that's too far.
Yeah, peeing on Dusty's grave is one thing, but FR Truth, that's too far. So nailed it.
Childhood hero.
Slara says, yeah, she still doesn't understand it, but she loves the passion that we all have for it. Well, we appreciate that. Absolutely. Like I said, a lot of us have been watching for a long time. Our friend Mike in the chat has been watching it for over 40 years now, or about 40 years, he says. So yeah, we've been watching it since we were kids.
Mike's the oldest one out of us.
Yeah, for certain. Yeah, don't date yourself there, brother. That's also why he always gets us with this great trivia.
But that's also the reason why I got into wrestling, why I did wrestling, and I like. It's just something about it. Like, I don't know. what it is. I can't really describe it because it's a different experience for me. Like getting booed feels good.
Yeah, you want them to do it more. Yeah. If you get them to boo you as a heel, you're doing your job right.
I loved being a heel because it's so freeing because then I'm just me.
He's he's me.
So you're an a-hole in real life, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't like babyface shit. I like being me, but I could pull off a babyface that's still me.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. John Cena's babyface was sometimes ultra hammy. Yeah. Like, on Saturday, he was like, yeah, doing that crazy. Like sometimes that got on my nerves and a lot of people's nerves over the years. But
that's why people, that's why it was so split because
kids loved him though. That's the point. Yeah. It was like Hulk Hogan when I was a kid. John Cena was the new Hulk
Hogan.
You had a what?
You had a what?
A bird. I don't know why. I had a bird.
Did he have like a blonde stash and go, brother?
No, he was blue.
No?
That's how he chirped. He went, brother.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of uncles, and I can't remember watching wrestling that young, but I guess maybe we did.
I never watched wrestling as a kid.
He's like, Polly says eat your vitamins.
And you know how I started watching wrestling? Like it was legitimately my stepdad. He was watching a Saturday night main event or something. And I think it was just he was flipping through his channels, wasn't nothing on, and he stopped there. And like me and my stepdad sat in the living room and I watched my first televised wrestling show. And I know Saturday night main event wasn't like it just, it wasn't that old at the time or whatever. It's not like I was watching it in the fucking 60s here. But that was the first time I watched wrestling. And then I found out from some kids in school that it comes on Monday nights. So I was like, well, okay, I'll have to try to watch it. So I asked my mom if I could stay up and watch wrestling. And she goes, all right, we'll see if you can actually stay up because this is a school night here, buddy. Like,
yeah.
But she let me stay up and watch it. And ever since then, I was hooked. And then that's when I found out about WCW. So then I would switch between Nitro and Raw.
Did the recording with the VHS or got the replay of Nitro?
Yeah.
Well, I think the Nitro used to do that automatically as soon as it was over. So yeah, that was one way. I always tried to record, but I didn't. I gotta admit, I didn't watch Nitro as much as I did WWE. I was a WWE guy, or WWF at the time. But yeah, so
my first wrestling experience was at Brandon's house.
Really?
Yeah. First time I've ever watched Brandon watch wrestling was at Brandon's house, and it was I believe it was the Royal Rumble before Shinsuke versus AJ Styles.
This is within the last 5 years or so, isn't it? It's not very long, but and that's crazy considering. I mean, now granted, you're still on the young side to a degree, but it was back in the 80s, especially like when me, Mike, and Brandon and everybody grew up. It was definitely a much more popular thing at the time. And when you started watching it, it was under the Vince McMahon regime, kind of, Vince had fallen off on him creatively and things like that. So it wasn't at the peak that it's kind of starting to get back to again now. Wrestling has these ebbs and flows. In the 80s, it was really hot. In the early 90s, it wasn't. The late 90s, early 2000s, it was out, through the astronomical roof, and then it dropped off again.
Lately, it has been the best that I've watched.
It's gotten better, So after Triple H took over, AEW's been introduced. AEW's fallen off a little here and there, but WWE is doing the best TV shows they've done probably since the mid 2000s. At least 15, maybe 20 years at this point. So that's a lot of the reason why you hear a lot more about it, and that's kind of why we talk about it right now too. If it ever falls off badly and we don't care to talk about it, we may not do it. But right now,
it was around 98 is when I started wrestling. When I started wrestling
at the peak of the Attitude Era, around in that point,
right around that time, because I can tell you right now, because the hottest group at the time was
Brandon
the Brood.
Had an attitude for sure.
My grandpa,
I did.
My grandpa went to a wrestling event at one time when he was younger, and it was Wild Bill. I think Hickok. Is that how I pronounce it?
You'd have to ask Mike that one. Hickok, probably.
I want to say that.
It does sound familiar.
I may have butchered that completely, but Wild Bill wrestled. I can't remember who the other opponent was, but this was in like the
I don't know.
60s,
70s,
70s,
probably.
Probably 70s. Yeah.
early 70s.
And it was still popular then too. But that 80s age of WWF, WWE was a thing for sure. Mike said that, I'll say my age, I don't care. I'm 48 years old and been watching since I was like 7 or 8. So my brother was watching Dick the Bruiser out of Indianapolis and it got him hooked. It was the World Wrestling Association out of Indy owned by Dick the Bruiser, then got into WWF around the first WrestleMania in 1985. I was 4 when WrestleMania 1 started. Well, 3 going on 4. Yeah.
2.
It's crazy, man. And it's like, I keep thinking, I went to WrestleMania 8 in person in Indianapolis, and that was now 33 years ago, which is crazy to me, you know, and hopefully to go back to the next one when it comes in town.
I remember trying to convince Miranda to watch wrestling with me. I remember convincing her to come watch me wrestle. Telling her I was a wrestler was a weird thing, by the way. Because it was like, oh, I had this thing I do on the weekends with a group of people. What's that? We make each other bleed. So if you want to come watch, that's cool.
You want to watch me gush blood? Come on down. It's romantic.
But getting her to watch like her first pay-per-view with me was fun. And then just like with the whole Marvel thing, like getting her to like watch some nerd shit with me, but then her falling into not the same love that I have for it, obviously, because I've watched it longer, I've paid attention longer, but for her to start to get why I am the way I am or why I like this. And then I knew she was into it when she starts picking out people she doesn't like on the screen. I mean, like,
she's starting to become invested there. Yeah.
Once she starts to have opinions about this shit, she's like, all right, I don't like that motherfucker. And then it's like, all right, well, we're here.
Which you probably noticed in like, you know, shows previously where she's like, I hate Logan Paul or, you know, this guy or that guy, you know, so
Charlotte.
Charlotte is another good one. Yeah. So she's got her dislikes for certain. Who's your favorite? I never know if I really ever asked. I know it ain't CM Punk. You're not a fan of him either.
Me or
no.
Miranda.
Yeah, screw that guy.
Well, I don't care. What's your favorite too, Matt? But let Miranda go.
Right now, I like where Randy Orton's at in his life. So watching him enjoy it and just soak it all in, I like that. But Jimmy and Jay, I like them too. So.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't want.
Her eyes popped out her head when Randy Orton came back in Survivor Series.
It's like that
and
one time.
I looked at her like, "What?" She was like, "I mean, look at him."
I'll never forget when me and Nate went to a show and she basically told me and Nate to grab Roman Reigns with a bottle of chloroform and stick him in our trunk, and that we took one look at his arms and said, you do it yourself.
And it's not even like you guys think it's like a sexual thing. No, I just like who wouldn't want a Roman Reigns?
Yeah,
life-size Roman Reigns. Like,
I mean, I can get you one of those standout cutouts.
You got a better shot of stealing one of those.
Yeah, much better.
Hold on a second.
I want one of Trump for the front porch still.
I'm surprised you don't have that yet. But yeah.
So I was going to get one, but
go ahead, Aaron.
Are you saying that if his arms weren't that thick, that you
no, because if his arms weren't that thick, the security guards would have been. So no.
It kind of sounded like you guys were down, but you thought he was a little bigger than you, and you're like,
well, we were just kind of joking about it heading to the event, and literally we got between us and probably 20 feet of Roman, and we're like, we both just looked at each other, didn't say a word, and go, It was just, yeah.
Could you imagine having Roman to do Roman things? Like you see somebody you don't like, hey, just Superman punch that dude over there for me real quick. Or
True.
Randy Orton, RKO out of nowhere. You know, like that would be some fun shit.
It would definitely be a something worth having around for certain.
It's like somebody start treating wrestlers like Pokemon, so you just have them in these little makeshift
stuff them in a little WWE ball and you just throw it when you need it. Yeah.
Another D&D campaign.
That would be hilarious.
Well, Matt, since you said something about it, who was your favorite?
Yeah, who's your favorite?
Yeah.
Currently.
My
Yeah.
current WWE wrestler that's favorite right now, I have to say it's be crossed between Logan Paul.
Oh God.
You're trolling now. This is
I'm being serious.
Really? Is it because he's kind of a troll?
But I really like Jay.
Paul's got to stick together.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
No,
I like Jey Uso. I wore the Yeet shirt. I thought Jay had a real shot, and
Did you wear the Eat shirt to the Royal Rumble?
Yes, I did, because you know what? Because Brandon said something one time, and it really hooked me on Jey Uso. He said that they finally gave him his moment.
Yeah,
and I hooked me on Jay, and I thought, you know what? Maybe this kid may have something to him.
Because look,
in the Yeets, it's clean, it's catchy. It's kind of popular. So
him and his brother took a tag team when they came in was cliche Samoans. Makeup, doing the haka dance was shitty.
Which storyline you can now play on WWE 2K25 now.
I know, and I'm going to.
at sale at most.
But they took that gimmick. They realized that gimmick was going nowhere. Asked for an opportunity to do something themselves, and that's when the whole Uso penitentiary thing happened. And that right there, letting them be them and their personalities, took that whole tag division and tag team to a whole new fucking level.
Mm-hmm.
Like the matches, they were already having good matches in the bright colors and face makeup, but like being themselves in the wrestling ring and their personalities playing out through their moves and all, like it elevated them even higher.
Oh yeah.
And like we can't forget that Jimmy and Jay, especially Jay, has been on this whole ride with Roman from the start. They are the literal three that's jump-started the whole bloodline story. And Jay has been there the whole time.
Yeah.
So
how old is
I'm not
Jay?
taking anything away from Roman. I think they're older than Roman.
They'll say they don't feel old, but I know they've been in the company.
They're younger than us.
Yeah, they're younger than us.
Oh, okay. He's 39. Jay is, but yeah.
Not by much.
Not by much.
Speaking of which, real quick, I had one of my first customers today. Actually, it was my first customer. He was born 2 months before me. And I swear this dude looked about 20 years older than me. He was huge, but completely gray. And I was just taken back by because he was younger than me.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt's cat
he
just
didn't look
destroying
horrible.
that bedroom. It's all right, Matt. No worries. That's awesome, though. Mike said that he was very lucky that he had a family that had a good antenna, so he could watch Louisville station and Evansville station, so he could watch Memphis wrestling as they were part of the loop for the territory. One thing you can give that little B Logan Paul credit for is he knows how to get heat hence the United States flag in Canada bit when he heard them boo our anthem at Elimination Chamber. Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, Logan Paul gained a little bit more of my respect when he brought out the United States flag to Canada last week. I ain't gonna lie to you, but
what do you want?
I didn't see that. Okay, at least he's got that.
He did do that. He did it mostly to troll the fans in Canada. But yeah, I mean, not only that, I think he even endorsed. Did he or he at least interviewed Trump? I know that.
Yeah,
before
he
the
did.
election. But
I don't think I'm supposed to like Logan Paul.
There's still things about Logan Paul I don't like.
Of course,
can't do is deny the kid's athletic. I can't say he isn't talented in the ring.
Yeah, he's talented and stuff. I just don't like his ego.
Yes, but it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah,
granted, that's part of his personality.
It's like CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fake. Like, I don't think he's acting.
No,
it's real.
Like, outside of wrestling, he's still a dick.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Logan Paul is too.
It's the same way.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, speaking of other wrestlers, actually an AEW star has some thoughts on the John Cena turn. That is, of course, top star MJF was asked about the John Cena turn. Here's what he had to say, and I actually agree with him. So let's listen to what he has to say.
I can't have the top guy from AEW on, not ask him. So I just give me your whole take on the John Cena.
I get really annoyed when people in either company pretend that they don't. Let me put it this way.
Yep.
Yes, I was watching it. I was watching it live. It was an awesome moment, and everybody should think it was an awesome moment because it was point blank, end of discussion. If you are in the world of professional wrestling, if you are a top guy and you don't watch as much or consume as much professional wrestling as you possibly can you call yourself a student of the game? Can you say you're giving your best foot forward? Can you claim to be one of the best in the sport? In my opinion, no, you absolutely cannot. So if you were to ask a WWE star, have you been watching AEW? And they say no, one of two things is happening. One, they're lying through their fucking teeth, or two, they don't care enough about this industry to study what's going on in it. But yeah, dude, it was awesome.
Okay,
It was fucking awesome.
right.
See, why can't we have more wrestlers and fans admit it's okay to watch both? It
I
really
never
is.
understood that. Like,
I-
if you don't think your football team watches the other football teams, you don't think,
Yeah.
like, if nothing else, you're doing homework against the competition to see how they do things the way you could do things different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that part of it. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
There are, and we know for a fact that there are a lot of WWE guys who watch or AEW because a lot of them have commented on things. These people are still friends, even though they don't work for the same fucking company.
Yeah.
Some of them still keep in contact with one another. If a guy is having an issue or trying to get something over, and he's like, "Hey, bud, do me a favor. Can you watch my show? Watch the show tonight. I got a match. I want you to watch it, and then like give me some feedback here. I'm trying something new or whatever." Like, it's all a thing. And I think, to MJF's point, I think there's still a lot of students of the game who watch simply for that factor to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't see why that's a fucking issue. Again, you could watch both companies, whether you like one or more than the other. Be Happy Wrestling is at a point to where you can watch two fucking companies.
Because it hasn't been for a long time. Go if you want to, look at the last 15 years prior to the last 5 years ago. Yeah, I mean,
to be 100% honest, any WWE fan should be glad AEW exists, because if they didn't, I promise you, your WWE storylines would not be where they are now.
No, absolutely.
Because they would have no need to. Why? Because there's no competition.
What's the old saying? High tides raise all ships, or something to that effect. Same thing happened when WCW was at its peak. It got WWE to be better.
As an AEW fan, you would want WWE to succeed and be, because then it still promotes your company to follow in those footsteps.
Yeah. But so I mean, and no one's ever catching WWE. Just because they're not doing WWE numbers doesn't mean they're a failure either. It doesn't.
No, that's because WWE's been at it the longest.
And no one will probably ever top them. Let's just be fair. Not going to happen. Let's see. Mike said he used to watch WWE, WWF, WCW, and ECW. Was another company that was very hot for a short period of time, there at least, almost every week.
I told Aaron a story about ECW. So we didn't get ECW like weekly. The only time I got to see ECW was on a scrambled channel. You remember like the first cable boxes? This is before Time Warner. This was just like, you had these little square fucking boxes that had 3 buttons on it. One of them was power, and I forget what the other 2 were. But we also had an antenna, and my stepdad knew how to rig it up to where you could get more channels than you were supposed to, except for the real premium channels. Well, ECW was on this pay-per-view channel, and you could watch it, but it was like really shitty. Like, it was like all cloudy. You could barely make it out. You know what I'm saying? But you could watch it. So I remember it was Heatwave was a pay-per-view that was coming up, and I wanted to see it. So me and the 2 kids across the street, Lonnie and TJ, we went to their grandpa's house, which was on the other side of town, under the guise that we were going to go swimming in the pool. No, we're actually going there because we're going to talk his grandpa into renting the pay-per-view for us without his mom knowing or my mother knowing. So, because ECW wasn't something you watched. You know what I mean? Because it was crazy. So we convinced his grandpa to rent it for us, and we gave him the $50 to do so. And he left the room. Like, he dipped out. In the middle of one of the matches, and I can't, somebody was bleeding and the table was on fire. That I know. His grandpa walks back in the room to ask us something, and all he sees is a bloody dude get put through a flaming table, and he goes, "What the hell are you boys watching?"
Nothing. Well, the amount of money that I probably begged and pleaded my parents to buy pay-per-views or cable so I could watch Raw or, over the years. I vividly remember, can we get cable? Can we get, kind of like Bart Simpson with Homer. Can we do it, Dad? Can we do it, Dad? Can we, that sort of thing. And yeah, God bless them. They actually usually did it for me in the long run. It took a lot of pleading, but got there in the end. Mike said I would catch each CW on a random cable channel at like 1 or 2 on a Saturday night. So yeah, there you go. Got to get it any way you can. As for the rest of WWE this week, though, I thought we'd talk a little bit about it as well on top of the John Cena stuff.
Oh gosh.
Io Sky also kind of had her own stunner this week a little bit. She pulled off her stunner by defeating Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw to become the Women's World Champion. Ripley allowed herself to be distracted by Bianca Belair at ringside, and Io Sky will now defend the championship versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. Or does this become a triple threat match, or maybe even a fatal 4-way if you add Liv Morgan? A lot of ways this could maybe still go. Bianca Belair had a little bit of a storyline playing out with Naomi tonight on SmackDown. We'll see if that ends up going somewhere. Jade Cargill, I don't know, but Bianca right now has the #1 contendership spot.
This storytelling.
Hey, all 4 ways are failures.
This. Wow.
Okay.
Oh man,
This makes sense.
How do we come back from that?
This makes sense for her to win it. She's a big baby face. I think Rhea is going to transition back to a heel because either one or two things are about to happen. Either we're about to get Becky or Asuka returning, which are going to be huge babyface pops, and there's no way they're going to last as long as Rhea is as a face. So
it was interesting too, where Rhea on Monday Night Raw was kind of like she was trying to say like, she's not my friend, she's not your kind of like almost beating herself up for being so stupid. So it's almost like she's going to maybe go dark because she's insecure. Maybe I don't know if that's the route they're going to take, but that's the way it kind of came off on Monday. So maybe
it's the whole thing with Dom, the Liv, that bothered her way more than she thought it did. She tried to.
It's been festering.
Now it's all
Yeah, I can see that too. Coming into next week, though, Monday Night Raw is going to be highlighted by a steel cage match with Seth Rollins and CM Punk this coming Monday night. Ironically, the day after, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher are also in a steel cage. So I don't know if there's anything there, but based on a story I'm going to tell you about here in a little bit, there very well could be. But I think Roman Reigns gets involved here, I would think. Because they've got to do something with this. I don't know.
Never mind. I know. No, he would, because he'd be pissed off at Seth.
And him and Punk ain't getting along too much either. But then again, Punk I ain't gonna lie, Punk cut a great promo on Raw talking about the 2 bald frauds in Rock and John Cena, which I thought was pretty interesting. But very well done on his part. But yeah, these 2 guys are going to explode, so it could be a fun Monday Night Raw for sure. And to end
kill each other in this.
Absolutely. And to end the WWE news this week, Lex Luger, the total package, the narcissist, or what was it, the Lex Express? Will officially be inducted into the 2025 WWE Hall of Fame on WrestleMania weekend here. Long overdue, as Mike once put it in the chat that we have offline.
Okay, here's the thing. You may not agree with me here, but it is what it is. Lex was never the best wrestler.
No. Had a physique like crazy, though.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Mike's skills were subpar at best.
Yeah, he had that big run with the Lex Express for about a year, and a lot of good years in WCW.
Had that whole thing with him and Sting, that was all right. But at the same time, Lex had 2 or 3 good moves in the ring. And those were the only 2 or 3 things he would do in the ring. He's a Hall of Famer, and I will say this: I'm glad he's able to now start actually moving around and walking and all that. Like I watched the DDP video and stuff; it was really great.
This is you alluded to it, so this is the video where Cody Rhodes surprised him. Now, for backstory here, Lex Luger has had a great physique back in the day, but he's had some health issues to where he wasn't able to walk. Obviously, he's lost all of his muscle and things like that. But Cody Rhodes decided to surprise him here back in February with the news.
2025 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. Wow.
So obviously it hit Lex really big. And of course, Lex has been working with Diamond Dallas Page and his DDP yoga program, who's helped a lot of former pro wrestlers and many people who've lose weight, regain mobility and strength. So that's great to see here. And obviously it's going to be great to see Lex Luger hopefully get to, come to the Hall of Fame and accept his award. And now he joins Triple H, Paul Levesque, and Michelle McCool in this year's Hall of Fame class. And a lot of rumors right now, not officially confirmed just yet, but the reports going around right now are that the natural disasters, earthquake and typhoon, will also be inducted as well. Another one long overdue if that ends up being the case.
Was one of those guys Tugboat?
Yes, Typhoon was.
Okay. So that's where I knew him from. I knew him as Tugboat.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that he was part of the Natural Disasters.
And Typhoon was also the Shockmaster in WCW.
Oh no way!
Yeah, that's the three gimmicks I remember from which Mike, if I word this wrong, let me know. But I think his name's Fred Ottman is the guy who played Typhoon, Tugboat, Shockmaster. He's actually married to one of Dusty Rhodes' sisters or his sister, so he's technically an uncle to Cody and Dustin.
Oh,
which is kind of interesting. So I think I worded that correctly. If I didn't, Mike could let me know. Mike said Ultimate Warrior, who I'm a fan of, was no Matt Technician either, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
it was all charisma and personality and stuff with the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. I wasn't saying he wasn't deserving of his spot because Lex was everywhere. What I was saying was like Lex wasn't the best wrestler, but that's not why you watched Lex Luger. Like you watched him because he was big. And he could put people in the torture rack. I loved the torture rack. I thought the torture rack was the awesome fucking finish. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So like I know why he's getting there. I was just saying, like, if you knew Lex, it wasn't because of his matches.
No.
That's what I was getting at. Same thing with Warrior. I know Warrior because he shook the ropes and he had colorful face paint and he talked crazy.
And he talked to the gods, or you know, whatever.
But the gorilla press was a thing. The dude was super jacked.
No doubt about it. And you know, the thing about Lex Luger too, I'll never forget the slam of Yokozuna on the what was it, USS Intrepid?
Yeah.
At that point, and now granted, Luger he tells the story about how he was wearing cowboy boots to the ring, and he said he didn't have any grip on the boots, so he told Yoko in the ring, he's like, "Man, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it." And Yoko's like, "I got you," and Yokozuna basically body slammed himself, threw himself up onto Luger to drop himself. So I mean, he didn't fully get him up, but it's kind of like watching Hogan slam Andre, you know?
Yeah. First of all, for Yoko to be that, no, I got you. Yoko what's involved for him to slam himself essentially with
at almost 500 pounds? Yeah,
it's crazy athleticism for a guy his size. Then
and he was very much more agile than people gave him credit for.
Yeah, that is also true. Yeah, he would hit the ropes. He could hit the ropes. I'll give him that.
Yeah, some of those kicks he did and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, damn, you're right. Yeah, Yoko was for a guy his size, was a very athletic guy.
Now, is he doing hurricanranas? No. Nah. But for a guy his size, you know, if you know Yokozuna, you know what I'm talking about. Mike said Ric Flair carried Luger through to some great matches in the late 80s and early 90s. Absolutely.
Yep. You're 100% correct on that. Him and Sting had a couple bangers in WCW. I'm not saying that he's not the one leading the match. You could still get a great match out of the guy. But like if you watch a lot of his matches comparatively to guys that were in his position and at his skill level, they were vastly fucking different.
Oh yeah, no doubt. To wrap up the wrestling portion of the show, I got a couple of AEW stories and stuff, and then we'll move on. But the thing about, and like I said, with WWE, I hope for their success and everything like that. I'm all for that, no doubt about it. However, NXT Battleground has set a date for May 25th, which puts it the same day going head to head with AEW Double or Nothing. To me, this has kind of got to stop. I get it's business, but WWE is clearly doing this to undercut AEW. It's kind of shady in my opinion. I just don't understand why WWE feels like they have to do this. This is partially why AEW is also doing their best to not announce dates very far in advance because they're afraid WWE is just going to sneak in there and try to put a show on up against them. I just don't know why you got to continue to do this, but that's just my opinion on the matter. Thoughts on NXT Battleground?
This isn't a WWE call. This is a TKO move. This is the same. Yeah,
it was happening before TKO too, though. You know.
Yeah, but that's Vince is an asshole.
Well, who's to say Triple H ain't as big of an a-hole? I don't know.
Because Triple H doesn't care about that.
Or who's Nick Khan or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what this is a TKO and Nick Khan thing.
Either way, stupid.
It's counter programming. It happens on every fucking thing.
Now, if this was earlier in the day and it was over by double, which like they've done for WrestleManias and stuff, I'm fine with that. But they're not going to go head to head with the Indy 500 most likely. So it's going to be head to head with the Double or Nothing pay per view, I would assume. I don't know if the time's been announced, but if that's the case, it's just. And I mean, they did the same thing with All In this year. They put a pay per view in July, I think, the same day. It's just. Yeah. I just don't like it. You know, it's unnecessary. But like I said, I get business though. I do. Mike said BYW caught the debut of W. Oh, you mean by the way? Caught the Well, BYW, I was like, what? By your way? I don't know. Caught the debut of WWE Evolve. Not too bad. Will take time to get used to, but has potential. Okay. That didn't really put too much thought into Evolve, but is that on the internet only, I think? Like the YouTube channel or something? On Tubi? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nothing wrong with it if you enjoy it. I just kind of feels like main event to me. It's like a show that, unfortunately, I don't have time for NXT or Ring of Honor, so Evolve is like last on my list.
NXT has been hitting some fucking
I know.
switches lately. And
I know.
Crazy.
And I need to get on that too.
It is
but,
crazy.
But the last thing I want to talk about in the world of professional wrestling, and we'll move on, is of course AEW Revolution is this Sunday night on pay-per-view. We've got, I think, 9 matches on the show. The Hollywood ending, the AEW Women's World Championship, Toni Storm defending her title against Mariah May. I hope this is the end of this feud. It's been going on for a while. Being they're calling it the Hollywood ending, this is the rubber match. I assume this is probably the final match between the two for a long period of time. Steel cage match, as I mentioned, Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay. AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley defends against Rated R superstar Cope. Hangman Adam Page versus MJF. Kazuchika Okada defending the Continental Championship against Brody King. That could be entertaining. The number 1 contendership match for the AEW World title, which will be Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland, which has also been a bit of a blood feud as of late. Konosuke Takeshita versus Kenny Omega for the International Championship, which will
go Kenny Omega.
Yeah, Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe for the TBS Championship, and the World Tag Team Championships, the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners, who have been very popular as of late. So they're striking while the iron's hot there potentially, but I don't think they're going to beat the Hurt Syndicate. Thoughts on the pay-per-view? Who do you think is going to win? And your thoughts in general?
Well, I do hope this Mariah May thing and Toni Storm thing is over. Toni Storm wins.
It's been great. Don't get me wrong, but at some point you got to move on to something else.
Kyle Fletcher should beat Will Ospreay. Shit.
Could, but Will has also been putting a lot of people over as of late. I wouldn't be upset if Will did win it, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but
I see your point.
Kyle's the one you're trying to push right now.
Yeah, I see your point.
It'll do Kyle more good than it would Will. Will be just fine. You could insert Will in any of these other matches, and it still made sense. So,
Brody King beating Okada.
I would love for Brody King to beat Okada.
Okada don't need the Continental title. He don't.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's served it well. I think he's been doing pretty good. But but if Brody King could be.
Yeah, but then I would have gave that to Murphy if that was the case too.
True too. Both could have used it for sure. Who's going to be the new number 1 contender? Swerve or Ricochet? Probably.
I would assume Ricochet.
If you're going to go the same logic as Fletcher, you do Ricochet there. You know, Ricochet needs it more. And they've done a great job with Ricochet in AEW. One of the few guys that they've taken from WWE. And that's the thing about WWE. Like, they'll take guys from AEW, like Ricky Starks, who's now Ricky Saints, or Cody Rhodes. And it's basically Jade Cargill, basically the same presentation that they were in AEW. AEW's taken some WWE talent and tried to change them a bit. Now, I'm not saying they've all been successful. Like, Aleister Black. I mean, that was pretty much the same, or Rusev. But Ricochet, they've done a 180 on his character, and I think it's been doing pretty good. So, yeah, I can see that. But thoughts about Kenny and Konosuke? Kenny winning the international title?
Kenny should, but I don't know if you. It depends on where you go with Takeshita after that.
Well, I think they've already set up. They're trying to already tease. I think Kenny and Okada? I think it all in.
Yeah, you could still hold that off.
Or if Kenny wins the international title and Okada retains the Continental title, merge those belts at all in.
Yeah,
there's no sense to have both.
You could have. Oh yeah, but you could put at some point Tenosuke versus Brody King. I'd love for
that'd be fun too.
Either one of those titles, to be honest with you.
So I think on paper this pay-per-view looks really good match wise.
Monet should lose.
I don't know if Momo will be the one to do it, but yeah, Mercedes has got to lose sometime here. I mean, come on.
And
I agree.
I like the Outrunners, but you don't beat the Hurt Syndicate yet.
Not yet, no. If the Gun Club didn't do it, I don't think the Outrunners are right. However, like I said, they're very popular. Maybe they'll pull the trigger, but
you guys
their gimmick is hilarious.
Talking about like mid-'80s biker gangs.
Yeah,
the Outrunners kind of are.
Yeah,
their whole gimmick is their whole gimmick is an '80s tag team. Yeah, like if you were to watch a tag team in the 1980s, that's exactly what the Outrunners are.
See, that's
very over the top, macho man. Oh yeah, very enthusiastic.
See, my dad grew up watching like the $1 Million Man.
He was more, not quite as enthusiastic, but
he watched Money.
That's when he laughed.
Yeah.
And Andre the Giant, and that's who my dad grew up watching.
Think Macho Man, the Legion of Doom. Or the Road Warriors. That's kind of what the Outrunners are kind of vibing with, a little bit.
I would say Hangman over MJF, but that could go either
one. Yeah, I'd be fine with either one. as long as it's done
Moxley's
well.
gotta lose, otherwise this is
Yes,
just becoming
well,
ridiculous.
and to be full transparency, I'm still 2 weeks behind on Dynamite. I got to catch up before Sunday, but I do know that Cope has been taken out. The members of the Death Riders one at a time, so I think it's now officially basically 1-on-1 Cope versus Mox. So he's not going to have a lot of help. So I think if you're going to take the title off Mox, now's the time to do it. And then I don't know if Cope is the world champion, or maybe you have Christian cash in the contract, or there's even rumor that
Jay White turn on Cope after he wins Blade Runner.
that's a rumor. Yeah.
Christian cash in. Christian's your new champ.
And then Jay White and Cope feud. You could do that too.
Yep.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities
but it
there.
also makes your antagonist for the last fucking month or so look like a joke, because if he can't get done by himself, then,
True too. And maybe Jay White turns on Cope and Mox is still the champ.
Yeah.
But then if that's the case, you still got the whole Death Rider storyline, which a lot of people are not a fan of right now. So unless they just break off and maybe Moxley thinks they're too weak for him, I don't know what they're going to do, but there are ways you can get out of it. But I think after this, maybe the Moxley storyline with the Death Riders running the show might be maybe has run its course, if you ask me. But yeah. So that notwithstanding, any other thoughts on pro wrestling this week? No, pretty much all there is to that. All right. Mike said that 2B, which is free, is where Evolve is currently. And Slaughter the Assassin said, would it be a hate crime if the Outrunners beat the Hurt? Fair. I mean, hey, it's not February no more, according to Aaron.
Yeah, we're past February. Nah, we're good.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. But
big
anyhow,
boys too.
Free game. It's free game now.
Free game. Open
Free
season, man.
that's messed up.
March.
Now you just can't be
White
mean to
man.
leprechauns. You know, you just can't do that.
Yeah. Damn,
Okay.
we gotta be nice to Matt, everybody.
Yeah. Leprechauns and trolls kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that. But
Your
anyway.
words cannot affect me anymore. Let me tell you guys something. Listen, Brandon has
Oh, he's getting serious now.
Brandon has altered me, because Brandon has given me so much shit for 2 years now that it just goes
That's been
under my
longer than
head.
that, man.
It's been longer than that.
Way farther.
It's like every people watch that episode of SpongeBob when the Flying Dutchman's living in his house and he's trying to scare him, but SpongeBob just is you know. It's the same thing about Brandon and picking on me. It's
To any of Matt's family that are currently watching this show, we love Matt,
No,
but
no,
he is
hold
fun
on.
to have
No,
fun with.
let's back right there.
hey, let's
They
not.
know.
His mother legitimately came to me and told me thank you, and I said, for what? She goes, for being mean to Matt.
yeah, somebody.
Oh,
has
for
to.
being mean to him.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't get it twisted. He gives it right back, or he tries.
Oh, I
But she meant it in the sense of I mean everybody. I don't treat Matt any different.
Man, that's
No,
messed
I
up.
get no special treatment.
No.
Mike in the chat said, "Thoughts, Miranda, on the wrestling."
Yeah.
Oh,
AEW.
no,
No.
I don't really
Okay.
watch AEW. It's too much drama.
Okay.
Always drama.
You know, it's kind of, and I was interested in this too. This week, usually, what happens when a pay per view for AEW comes up the week of it? A lot of times, some negative story will come out and try to derail their momentum. I don't think anything really major like that happened this week. So in that case, good. And they really don't
For
need it.
AEW.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll work out well.
That's a win for AEW.
I would think so.
I see
But,
Ray Phoenix
They
is
have
probably going to be
momentum.
joining WWE soon.
somebody
I
said,
think.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I guess I do have a thought about AEW. When they first started and were getting big, it was like they were getting all the people that were leaving WWE because of bad reasons, right? They always had a chip on their shoulder when they were leaving. If they can stay past or get past that and stay away from just getting wrestlers that got themselves in trouble, then maybe they got a good shot.
Yeah.
There's not been
I agree
there's
with
not
that.
been a whole lot of that lately. Now there's been some, like with Ray Phoenix, like Brandon said. Somebody was like, "Oh, they should just let him out of his contract." Now somebody said, I saw some people saying he was let go out of his contract. Now he may have a
He's
no
now
non-compete.
He's a free agent now.
Is he now free? Okay, I didn't know that. So that's good.
That's the
So
last report I seen.
now he may have a non-compete, so he may have to wait 90 days or something before he goes to WWE and joins Penta. But that will happen, so no doubt about it. But other than that, there's really not been a whole lot. I don't know, last 6 months, maybe a
And
little
I
Britt
will
Baker
say-
drama, maybe.
I
But
will say this: I wish AEW could get back to what made me like AEW.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
I don't know what happened.
I think a lot of it, the drama didn't help.
Man, that made me
like,
too.
well, that and Tony Khan has been, they've said, more in the weeds as of late when it comes to storyline. So maybe he kind of stepped back and let some other people delegate a little bit. A lot of people have been wanting him to do that, but now they're saying that he's actually kind of come back and it's actually been improving over the last month or so. So if that's the case, maybe, careful what you wish for type of thing and just let the man cook. But I don't know. Mike said he has a non-disparaging agreement from what I see. So we can't talk bad about the company. Is that what it is? Is that what that means?
Very much, basically.
Okay.
He can't say.
Well,
anything negative.
that's fair. I mean, what's the point? I mean, if you let him go, he can't talk. Okay, fine, but he gets to go where he wants to go.
I would break that contract immediately.
Well, then you're going to get sued.
Fine, and a bunch of other shit that comes along with that.
But if there's nothing,
lawsuits are a part of life.
Well, what good does that serve Ray Phoenix though to start bad mouthing the company? You're going to get what you want. Go to the other company and get paid. There's no sense in. Now, does that mean there's some bad stuff that happened with him? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't really. That's between them, It's not,
as long as it's not illegal. Look, as long as it's not illegal, or he didn't witness any kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be careful what I sign when.
Especially with WWE. I mean, a lot of the old regime ain't there no more, but. Questions about who knew what when is still there, so we'll have to wait and see if there's anything behind that lately. But anyway, let's move on with pro wrestling here. Let's get on to some other topics and let's get into movie news. I ain't got a whole lot for new movies this week, but there were a few things I want to touch on, so let's go check it out. Okay, so the biggest, like I said, it's been kind of quiet in the world of movies this week, but there was one big topic I thought we'd talk about, and that is, of course, we've got some Avengers Doomsday concept art that has potentially been leaked or maybe intentionally released to build up hype. But these are some concept designs for the upcoming film. This is a picture of Dr. Doom, which will be portrayed by Robert Downey Jr.
Sweet, honestly.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Some of this looks really, really cool. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. Maybe this isn't real, but if it is, it actually looks pretty decent in some regards.
I tell you what, if this isn't, and somebody did like AI generation of this to get this or whatever, I feel like Marvel should take a look at it. Because now again, that is awesome.
This looks great. Now, there's a couple of these here I'm about to show you that some of it maybe looks a little fake, but concept art always kind of looks that way. Yeah. So it doesn't mean it's illegitimate because it may look fakeish or just drawn or whatnot. That's just the way it's supposed to look in concept. And once you put it on screen, it'll be different. So
it's a concept.
Yeah. But this here, I mean, that's badassery right there.
That's fucking dope.
So yeah, that's one screen. We've got a few others here.
Hey, you have to send me that picture because I'm changing my background.
That is pretty dope background. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't see a world where Marvel is going to cast Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Doom.
That's who that is.
And have it suck.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, they're gonna try. They're gonna put their best foot forward, as much as they can.
They're gonna give this a good swing.
Now, this alien off to the right side, I just noticed. I have no idea what that is, but it's got an X-Men logo on it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But obviously, Kamala Khan, Wanda's two kids here. Was it Billy and Tommy, I think? Or Wicked and Speed? I haven't seen Agatha yet either, but I know they were in WandaVision and, of course, Doctor Strange 2. I think this is them a little bit growing up. They're going to be part of I think it's Billy and Tommy, Wicked and Speed. One's Wiccan. Yeah, like a witch type thing. Yeah. And Speed's more like a Flash type thing. Then, of course, you got Ant-Man's daughter here, and you've got Kate Bishop, and of course Star-Lord and Wong. Kind of like a Young Avengers thing, and of course Star-Lord's on Earth, and Wong maybe recruiting a little bit. I don't know. But it looks like Kamala Khan definitely has an infatuation with Wong. Probably like some of the stories he's telling and stuff. She's a big nerd, things like that. So interesting to see how this may tie together.
Honestly, they're not on Earth, but right now, but like,
yeah, maybe not.
This would actually this gives me like, it's gonna sound like a Star Wars kind of vibe, and
it does.
Cantina involved, yeah.
I can see that. Well, if they travel to an X-Men universe, maybe this is kind of a sign of that X-Men universe with that alien. I don't know.
Yes, it looks
do
more
a different
Star
Young
Wars than
Avengers
Andor.
but with new characters. Like I'm here for this.
Now-
Looks cool,
Yeah.
but I hope this isn't one of those things that said getting my hopes up and
I
it's
know.
absolutely nothing.
Like trash.
Because
Now,
this looks like it'd be good.
there is I mean, obviously, it's been wide reported that they were going to be doing a Young Avengers Disney Plus show.
Mhm.
They may be calling it Champions now instead of Young Avengers because the Young Avengers are obviously not so much young anymore. But these 5 here on the right were supposed to be part of the Young Avengers cast. So again, Brandon, if it's something you're interested in, you may look forward to that. It's not been officially announced yet, but this could maybe potentially set that up going
That'd
down
be
the
cool.
line here. So
That
that'd be
would
dope. New
actually be
characters. Yeah. So also we got a picture of Black Panther. Looks like
Ooh.
on Wakanda. Now, a lot of this concept art may have been designed a little bit for when it was Kang's Dynasty, when Chadwick Boseman maybe was supposed to still be a part of this as well, because this design has also been going around with another photo, which actually looks like Chadwick Boseman in the role. So I don't know if that may mean they tried to maybe digitally put him in here or recast somebody who looks very similar to him, or if that was the original design and then after Chadwick's death they ended up going with this design. Either way, Black Panther looks to maybe have a big role, or at least a multiversal version of him or something coming up in Doomsday. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, like there's an actual skin like this, but it doesn't look this fucking good. But I like this look.
Yeah. Some of this design work looks, if it's kind of got this tone.
Is that a partial mask? Like
I can't tell if it's
kind of mask.
maybe. It's kind of hard to tell,
Yeah,
but it's definitely got those cool line design in
Man,
it,
that
whatever it
is-
might be. Kind
I
of reminds
hope
me of
this
like T'Chaka before he died a little bit in the beginning of the first film.
Yeah,
A little bit, and maybe it is him. Like, you know, for throughout the ages, they were supposed to be doing an animated series this year on Disney Plus, kind of showing Wakandan heroes throughout generations in an animated form. So maybe it's something along the lines of that too. That's very well possible.
That's pretty cool.
We also got a look at what potentially looks like Doctor Doom with maybe an evil Doctor Strange here on the left, and has obviously got some subjugation going on here. We don't know exactly who this character is here.
Subjugation.
I don't know, but obviously, you know, in the comics, I think Strange and Doom ruled Battle World or whatnot. Not 100% certain on all the details there, but yeah.
Damn, that is
Eric,
awesome.
what do you think is going on in this scene here? I want to hear your.
Well, it depends on who it is who's kneeling before Doom. I don't know.
I mean, is he gonna like have electricity come out of his hands and like fry the dude?
Well, he
I mean,
kind of had some of that.
I mean, he did.
I'd like to see some of that.
Well,
let me tell you something. If
He
they
ra-
make Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, I want to see like evil.
Well, yeah,
I don't
they're
know
not
if
gonna hold
they're
back.
get the Doom that has the army of fuck. Well, he could. I mean, have the army of fucking Doom bots or whatever. But like where he rules his own sovereign nation. Like we're getting Doom before he like all that happens. It's going
to kind of tie off of that. This clearly, there's a little bit of a detail in this design here. In the if you look in the photo in the background, the attire they're wearing is like old England, like 1800s or prior, even. Yeah, like so maybe Doom is going through time, and you know, or has been through time and has ruled, you know, many different nations and dimensions. I don't know. I'm just saying. This is just me speculating. I don't know.
I think that's just the aesthetic he has of his where like I can't remember. It's not Lithuania, but it's
Latveria.
Like Latveria.
Yeah.
I think that's just the general like what it looks like. That makes sense. Like the aesthetic of Liberia is that which he is the ruler of. So like,
and maybe this is Latveria from like. I mean, who knows? I mean, interesting that you know the attire and stuff they're wearing for sure for the time frame that they're in, and a couple others here. We got a tease of a potential maybe World War Hulk setup with Hulk and She-Hulk. I don't know who the Hulk here is on the right, but you can see.
Why is there so many Hulks?
Well, we're going to find that out. Hulk obviously had a son when he was on Sakaar, because he showed up at the end of She-Hulk. So who knows how many Hulks have been populated? Maybe Hulk was off doing his own thing those few years in between Ultron and Infinity War. So there's other Hulks in the background here too. So
there's a little girl
he was planting his seed.
Planting his Hulk seed. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of
gremlins. Once they get wet, you know it's a wrap. You can't feed them after midnight.
Yeah, after midnight. Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Paving the way for Hillbilly Hulk.
But it looks like they, it looks like a D&D campaign. They're just orcs.
Yeah, kind of what it looks like. So again, laying the seeds possibly there for that maybe Hulk versus Wolverine movie we've talked about, or the World War Hulk.
So
orcs have rights too.
I'm just, yeah, and that one here on the right especially kind of looks orcish. You know, I don't know, maybe it's just me. And then of course we got another image here, which may be from Vision Quest, which is a Disney Plus TV show where Vision is kind of searching out to find out who he really is. Obviously, because the last Vision implanted his memories into the new Vision, and this could be him just hanging out with Star-Lord. You know,
we get a sitcom with Star-Lord and Vision. I'm here for it.
Why not?
Those are like bros.
And White Vision in this regard here, eating pizza and drinking beer, watching the game. You know, why not? Star-Lord ain't got a whole lot else to do right now. The Guardians are off doing their own thing.
If every American doesn't embody that image,
just chilling.
That's how you're supposed to do.
Yeah. By the way, Mike said Hulk was out there smashing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like where you take those Hulk cans and you just go to, you know, anyway.
Whoa.
Remember that from Deadpool? Anyway.
Yeah.
Man.
But yeah. So yeah, all this, you know, again, and some of this could be from Secret Wars too. This could all be kind of just everything thrown out there. But right now, I like the aesthetic. It's got that serious tone, but you know, lots of potential in different characters together.
Dr. Doom is crazy.
Yeah. That is, what is it? God Emperor Doom? Wasn't it what he was in the comics?
No, that's when he had the cosmic power. He had everything. He had the Infinity Stones, all of that shit. Yeah, when he was God Emperor, like,
and if you
did stuff.
And again, Matt, they're not bringing Robert Downey Jr. in here just to play a half-assed villain. He will be the next Thanos. Okay,
Yeah.
This Doom is going to be the next big threat. I mean, he may.
It's gradual.
Yeah.
There are things that happen, and he's just doing shit in the background. Nobody paid attention to what Doom was doing, and he was just playing people like chess pieces. A lot of people's moves that they did allowed him to do things that he accomplished in the background, and he unscathed. Nobody suspected him of anything.
I have a question, and you guys may answer this, and I may be an idiot for asking this. My Marvel is not very good, but
it's better than some.
If there is a multiverse, okay, like they say, and like it's transpired, there are Infinity Stones in this multiverse.
Yeah. There's also a bunch of Infinity Stones in a Loki dress drawer.
Well, I was about to
at the TVA, so
they give those things away, man.
Are there Infinity Stones in the multiverse?
I'm sure. But since they already did that storyline, they may not do that here.
Why not?
And they may not have to. I mean, you could, but it might be kind of going to the well one too many times a little bit. You know what I mean?
Put them in as like a minor distraction.
He doesn't have to do it to snap the population in half. He could really use that gauntlet for whatever the hell he wanted to use it for.
Not only that, there's literally comic book, panels out there. I wish I had one pulled up, but we always showed it before when we talked about Robert Downey Jr. being cast, of literally, Dr. Doom ripping people's spines out of their bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's that powerful. So he may not even need the Infinity Stones, dude. But I see your point. I mean, you could, but,
I'm just saying that there's got to be some ulterior motive. I mean, other than
we'll find it out.
Watch the world burn,
Maybe he just wants to rule. I mean, and people just wants power, I don't know. But remember, when Robert Downey Jr. got cast, he came out. The first thing out of his mouth was, new mask, same task. So again, what if this Dr. Doom, in his mind, he's saving the universe or saving the multiverse by ruling it? So again, it makes some sense, and maybe it would make more sense if it was an evil Tony Stark too. Like, maybe the one who finally succeeded in putting in a suit of armor around the world, and it went bad. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could take this. And I know Matt talked about this earlier in the week. One of the directors said that Robert Downey Jr. is actually doing detailed research to prepare for the role of Dr. Doom. He's, quote, writing backstory and costume designs. He just loves really rich three-dimensional characters, and I think he sees a real opportunity here with this character. So he's doing his homework. He's actually writing ideas about what could have happened in the past with the character and coming up with designs for the costume and stuff. So it sounds like he's 100% or 1,000% invested. So I'm looking forward to see what Robert Downey Jr. does here. Thoughts on this as a whole? Obviously,
I like that mask.
Yeah. And obviously, this is just a mask they did for the convention, and I'm sure the real one will look more like that one in the photo. But yeah, so I don't know. This looks great to me so far.
Fucking awesome.
This movie goes before cameras and starts shooting in April, so they're getting on the ball with this, and it'll come out in about a year's time. So this is going to be hitting theaters in May of 2026, or at least the first part. After that, there's talk about Spider-Man 4, maybe now Avengers. What would be 4.5, leading into Doomsday, or I'm sorry, it'd be Avengers 5.5, and then it'll be leading into Secret Wars. So Marvel's definitely trying to make the next year, 2 years important, to say the least, before they do their soft reboot. So looking good so far. So yeah, I like what they're doing with it so far.
The title Secret Wars doesn't give me warm and fuzzies either.
Well, I think in the comics it was kind of like, I don't know a whole lot about the comic book storyline, but if I'm not mistaken, it was like a bunch of multiverses coming to, the Earths were colliding type things, kind of like a Crisis on Infinite Earth type of thing. And like maybe like heroes were fighting each other because they didn't know who they could trust. So it was like secret. Who are you fighting? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Something
Everybody
to that
was
effect.
doing their own thing, but they couldn't trust the other people. So it was all done, and but they crossed each other's paths, so you didn't know who to trust. It's pretty good though.
If you give me, you don't have to give me a whole film, but give me like a Captain America Civil War sequence at the airport where it is Avengers versus X-Men. Take my money.
Oh, that would be good.
I would love a whole film centered around it, but if you ain't going to do that, at least give me the old Fox Universe X-Men, the MCU OG cast with the Avengers against those X-Men. That's $1 billion in a heartbeat, that movie. So
that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, if nothing else. So yeah. Oh, it's not here. Mike had a question before we move on from this. He said, if you could do a buddy sitcom with a DC character and a Marvel character, who would they be? Slara said she would do Flash and Deadpool. That's actually not bad. I like that. So yeah.
No, Barry's just as annoying.
You gotta have a straight person with the Deadpool.
Yeah, you gotta have a straight person. You can't it's no.
I mean, they kind of did that in Marvel already with Deadpool and Wolverine, but
Deadpool and Batman.
Oh my God, Batman would probably try to kill him.
There's like a detective.
Throw out that no killing rule. Yeah.
Batman would succeed, though.
Oh, he would find a way. Batman would, if anybody could, Batman would find a way, for certain. But
I would just love to see the interactions though between Deadpool, who is literally insane, and Joker.
Like, God,
could you imagine?
Obviously, Deadpool wins that fight, but yeah.
But Joker doesn't know that. Like Joker,
but does he?
I think
does he win that fight? Yeah, Deadpool can't be killed.
Smart enough,
but does he though?
Yes.
The Joker outsmarts Batman.
Fair.
You're right,
but he never actually tries to kill Batman.
But also, the Joker, he's more cerebral than anything. It's a lot of mind games with him too. That wouldn't work with Deadpool, period, because he's, especially if you get Deadpool after the whole Madcap thing, then it's a lost cause, because literally the man talked to himself 90% of the time. So head games wouldn't work with Deadpool, and Deadpool isn't afraid of brutality. We all know that. But it would be really crazy to see how much torture Joker would do to Deadpool.
Yeah.
Knowing he can't kill him, but he can feel every bit of that.
Especially in his head.
Yeah.
The amount of mind games he can play.
That would be crazy. But Batman, though, as the straight man to Deadpool, that's what I want to see.
Now, Mike, stop picking on Miranda. If she wants to say something, she'll say something. But, of course, I welcome her thoughts. So she's not probably not as big into the comic book stuff as we are, I'm assuming, but that's fine. Don't worry. If you stuck around and watched the politics section, you'd hear Miranda talk all the time. I'm just saying.
Why doesn't Michael put his face on there? He just put a big M.
I think mine says gel. It's not.
Aaron.
Yeah, what?
It just has your.
What, Aaron?
To see a chess game between Charles Xavier and Martian Manhunter.
Ooh.
Yeah, that could be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and
Yeah.
John just sit there. Hell, even Vision and John would be an interesting interaction between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a good question. I like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a couple other. Oh, go ahead.
Mike, I was just gonna say, you all kept saying Deadpool and somebody, and I was trying to think of somebody else, but then Captain America and Deadpool didn't sound like a good combination either. So
I mean, it would be
but
interesting.
Captain America and somebody.
I definitely want to see the
who.
Captain America Deadpool interaction at some point,
Oh
especially
my
after
God.
Deadpool was saluting him and Deadpool and Wolverine. I want to see him fangirl out. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him just.
I want to
go-
see him hug Thor when he sees him for the first time. And
Why
wonder
were you
he's
crying?
Why were you crying?
It hasn't happened yet. Red one. I don't know. But
I
so,
would.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this next slate of movies. Like I said, we've been watching. I've been at least trying to watch a lot more of Marvel stuff that I haven't seen on Disney Plus.
The first 2 episodes of Daredevil dropped this week. If you haven't watched
I know.
that,
I heard. Yeah, I know. I
the
gotta
first
watch
2
that.
are really good. They're worth watching. I did get a chance to watch that, so highly recommend. I'm hoping the rest of the season
watch
is
that at some point
very good.
because they drop
And,
Wednesdays, right?
maybe I know the first 2 episodes dropped on Tuesdays. It may be Tuesday or Wednesdays. I think it's around 9 p.m. on Tuesday, maybe. So
Okay.
either way, around Tuesday, Wednesday. So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to watch the first 2 and get caught up on those. They're about what, an hour long?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Okay.
A little less, but yeah. Mike said, by the way, every kid is asleep now, but unlike last week, the wife is not away at a conference, so I actually have to be clothed watching the show. Sorry, guys. We appreciate
So
that.
gross.
We actually appreciate
So
you
fuck
and
that.
your yeah. The vision. Anyway, moving on.
Oh my god!
I had a
TMI.
Yeah, TMI, way TMI. I had a few more movie news topics. We're going to kind of hit rapid fire, kind of like we did last week. If something that's not like overly important to go in depth on, we'll just kind of hit kind of quickly. First thing up, Happy Gilmore 2 now has a release date on Netflix for July 25th. So if you're interested in seeing that, it is now coming out on July 25th. Like I said, as long as we get a fight between him and Drew Carey to kind of take the place of Bob Barker, I'm perfectly fine with that. So hopefully that happens. We also got Vin Diesel apparently is now teasing that he is developing a Groot movie. He said, quote, Disney wants their Planet X, which some say is Marvel's most anticipated movie. Haha. The film where Groot returns to his home planet. Is he being serious here? Because this whole movie would be I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot the whole time.
I don't know. I think we
Yeah,
actually hear
Brock.
Groot. I think we'd actually hear Groot talk.
You think so? Well, he did once.
Well, we could get Jeff the Shark.
Yeah, sure.
You guys can see where that annoying ass fucking character in Marvel Rivals comes from. Stupid ass shark.
Probably get though.
Well, we
Pisses
know
me
what
off.
Brandon's feelings are on Jeff the
It would
Shark.
be him saying
What
I am
I mean,
and we
does
have
Groot speak a different language on that planet?
Maybe
I
we
would
get
assume to make
translated.
it more palatable for us. Yeah.
Maybe it would
Because-
start with I am Groot, and then it says, oh, since he knows how to talk Groot to everybody else, it's translated in English for us. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say, Aaron?
Yeah,
It's
kind
a
of like
rule.
the Minions.
Yeah.
Thor says that it's an elective on his planet.
Yeah, exactly. So other people do know it. So I don't know. There's maybe a way to do it. Now, I did see a report
Rocket
too.
understands him.
Yeah, exactly. Hell, I think Thor understood him. Yeah, exactly. I think I did see a report somewhere that said this could be potentially like the legendary Star-Lord that they teased at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which may spin off from Vision Quest a little bit too. That they may be developing spin-offs to the Guardians of the Galaxy, since now that James Gunn's moved on to the DCU
I
and
would
stuff.
love to see King Groot.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
And you
Why
know,
not? They had
why
that whole
not?
new team set up at the end of the third film.
But
With Rocket leading.
people want to watch movies. They don't want to watch sitcoms and TV.
Oh, it's okay to have fun movies every now and then too, Matt. They don't all have to be the Penguin.
It always have to be a big movie. You could also have a show which is a lot more digestible in smaller chunks.
Maybe that's
than a
just my
movie.
opinion, but
And Matt, you've even said too many fans nowadays just want Infinity War and Endgame at all times, and that's just not practical. You got to build to that
that's
stuff.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
so
Like
it's
I said,
okay to have fun now and then.
Yeah.
The reason why those movies worked the way they worked and hit how they hit is because they built to those things. You had all that time to, to fall in love with these characters. You're not gonna get that like in every fucking movie. That's not how that shit works.
Mike said something in the chat. He said, "Remember my thoughts if they did a Star Wars Chewbacca origin story?" He said in it, Chewie actually talks normal like humans, but the humans actually speak like Chewbacca. Did they kind of do something similar to that with the holiday special where Chewie went home to visit his family and something like that? It was pretty bad. Now, I'm not saying that maybe you couldn't pull this off, but it'd be something. I don't know. Don't put it past Lucasfilm. They don't put anything on screen anymore, so be careful with that. But anyway, yeah. Also, we got the confirmation of we now have the new casting for the new Severus Snape in the new Harry Potter television series. He will be portrayed by an actor named Papa Isiudu. I think that's how you say his name. Obviously, this is causing some controversy because they are doing a bit of a race swap. Because at least compared to the movies the Harry Potter's movies with the actor who played him there. But in the books, I don't necessarily think it actually says what race he was. So
no, they never say.
I don't think it's as big of a deal as maybe some people were making it. But however, I will say they had the perfect casting here with Adam Driver who played Kylo Ren. That would have been almost spot on compared to previously. Yeah. But they chose not to do this, and they're going to go with the other guy. So
he looks a lot like him too. That's crazy work.
I know. Maybe a young Snape would have been something.
Maybe things shouldn't be fucked with.
J.K. Rowling kind of flip-flopped as far as like characters that didn't really give a description of race. So it's kind of up in the air and up into interpretation at this point.
Right.
At one point she said Hagrid was black, but then she got backlash because that was kind of racist, and so she changed her mind.
However, I will stand up for her when she basically said, you boys are boys, girls are girls. You can't mess with that. So I'll give her credit there. I know she got a lot of backlash for that too, but good on her for sticking to her guns, in my opinion. But that's just me.
There's no real description of him. They never really describe him when he's on. It's the same. If you're gonna have that kind of logic, then you should be mad that Samuel L. Jackson is fucking Nick Fury.
Right. Now, do you think they put the hair on this guy, make it look or
give him a perm?
No, Brandon, no.
What, man?
Yeah, it's the same fucking thing.
It is the same thing.
It's not the same fucking thing. It's a different character entirely.
What are you talking
about? It's not. Nick Fury is Nick Fury.
Should be played by Samuel Jackson. Snape, really?
Just because Snape was played by one ethnicity and one interpretation, the only interpretation we've got on film so far.
I won't watch this.
Well, it's your prerogative. I get why people are upset about the race because that's all Hollywood does. So anytime this sort of thing happens, they all go, "This is the exact same situation," and I don't fault them for that because that's what Hollywood has been doing to program us into believing. So I get it to a degree, but
Eric, it's not the fact of who they chose; it's why are they doing it?
They don't have another person that fits the role. I don't fucking know.
Well, not only that, I heard this guy's a hell of an actor. So
okay,
wait and see.
If he is, then I give him the benefit of the doubt. But I'm just, Snape is just one of those characters you really don't.
It won't mess with the personality. It's just a different look to the person. He's still playing the same character.
Yeah. 1 second, my cat's.
In other words, Matt lost the argument. No, just kidding.
Instead of long curly hair, they need to do a fro.
Oh no,
that would be hilarious.
Look, I know it ain't February anymore, Matt or Aaron, but don't get us canceled. Anyway, Mike said,
the stuff we've said has not gotten us canceled by now. I think we're okay. I'm just saying.
You know what? I say whatever. We'll go to Rumble if that's the case completely. But anyway, Mike said, by the way, you mentioned politics earlier. My son actually leaves Saturday morning for an 8th grade field trip to Washington, D.C. I remember that. I took that field trip for a couple days, hoping he has a fun experience. Yes, and hope safe travels. I know it's probably a plane ride involved and all that. Yeah. So, yeah. It was tiring, though. We did it all in one day in my school. But, yeah, definitely.
I know we had the opportunity, but, like, I was never one of the honor roll kids to get that opportunity to fucking go. But I know it happened a couple times.
Brandon, honorable? What?
Yeah. What are you talking
honor roll, not honorable.
Honor roll, not honorable.
Yeah. He had good grades. Didn't mean he was like, virtuous.
Honor roll?
Yeah.
This is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm going to drop it.
He was on a roll with that mouth, that's for sure.
Wow.
I just hope he's a good actor. That's all.
Well, and from what I understand, he is. And like I said, I understand the uproar too, because like I said, they do this all the time.
It's like,
but in this case, I'm willing to forgive it more because the book didn't really say he couldn't be one way or the other, or wasn't one way or the other. If the book said he's a white male, you know, okay, you're contradicting the book, but the book didn't say that. So, like I said, I get it too because they do it every single freaking movie nowadays. So take it for what you will. I mean, I guess I ain't upset no matter how you feel about it, really. Yeah.
It just goes into what we've said about most things on this podcast. Is just make it make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it makes sense, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
It's not going
But-
to make sense to cast a white dude as T'Challa to lead.
Yeah, that completely changes the
that's-
character.
But it
Brandon,
makes perfect
exactly.
sense for them to portray another guy that they never gave a description to in the
Mhm.
first place
Mhm.
as another character. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Nick Fury thing. And Brandon said, no one said anywhere that Nick Fury had to be white. He
thought
was
Nick-
for a long time, but Nick,
was.
I'm not gonna lie, Nick Jackson killed it as a character.
I thought Nick Fury was awesome.
Yeah. So you had no problem with that one.
Originally, Nick Fury was white.
Yeah, he was white in the comics and white in a movie, actually. He
Yeah.
played by David Hasselhoff.
I'm about to say David Hasselhoff played.
Yeah, from Baywatch, David Hasselhoff.
It
You
was
know.
not a good movie, by the way.
No, it was not a good movie whatsoever.
Horrible.
Yeah, Mike said, so they are flying to DC, so thoughts and prayers for safe travels. I remember that flight, the only flight I ever flew on, round trip, obviously, but
Mhm.
yeah, very nervous as a guy who don't fly much. So, but hey, it went off. We did hit some turbulence, and I ain't gonna lie, it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The craziest part for me being in a plane for the first time, solo dolo, by the way. So I handled it like a big boy. You know what I'm saying? Solo dolo.
I don't know if I could do
Um,
it solo. It helps that I had friends, but
Taking off was the first thing. When you feel the ground is no longer underneath you, that initial go freaked me out. And because
Yeah.
at the time the friends that I had were assholes, all my seats were window seats because I didn't want a window seat because I didn't want to look out the window.
no,
But then
I'd close that
spent
sucker fast.
I spent the whole time looking out the window. It is fascinating to see.
Oh yeah. Now I did look out when we were landing. I thought that was pretty cool. Kinda
No,
see, you know.
I shouldn't have looked out when we were landing because the airport was right by the highway. So we're coming down, and those cars are getting close. And in my head, I'm like, "Why didn't they make an announcement? We just go this way." Nah, it was.
What's crazy is when you hit that turbulence and it feels like you go weightless. And you feel like you drop 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
But you don't. But in my head, I couldn't. It was hard for me to justify between me and 10,000 feet of air is just this small layer of metal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so it definitely freaked me out. But I don't know if I'd ever do it again. I figured
What
if
are you
God made
talking
me
about?
to fly, I'd have wings. But
It was a cool experience. I'll give it that. Like, it
yeah,
really
but
was.
I maybe it's something I could get used to. But that one time, I would have.
I've
It would probably be
flown-
like doing it all over again.
What?
I've only flown once too, and apparently we hit some turbulence on the way back, but I slept through it.
Oh wow, that's the best kind to have.
No,
you
I
don't
will
want.
say one other cool thing that I saw when we were flying. I was flying back to Cleveland from San Diego. We're going past Las Vegas, and there was a storm, and I saw the lightning arc between the clouds. Coolest visual I've ever seen. Like, it was dope. But that storm was over there, so we didn't feel it. But
So, Mike, you didn't say in your comment, how long is he going to be gone for? Is it just like a day thing? Or are you going for a couple days, a week? Oh, for a couple days. It does say a couple days. My bad. So that's better than us because we had to try to fit it all in 24 hours.
really,
Yeah, but we got there. We left at like 3 a.m. Got there probably, I don't know, a couple hour flight or whatnot. So we got there early. We tried to see everything. We get like maybe a 10 o'clock flight home, or maybe something like that. So we went to like the White House, Smithsonian, Lincoln Memorial, the Vietnam Wall. We tried to hit all the major things, but we talked to a lot of people there. They said, "Oh yeah, you could be here for weeks and still not see it all."
wow.
And not only that, knowing how I am now, and I follow this stuff more, the politics side of things, I would appreciate it far more now.
We talked about going, but we were gonna just drive because might as well go see some sights before on the way.
Yeah, you can go. I mean, she probably, I don't know, all sorts of good stuff between here and there. So yeah, that'd be a good thing. I do want to go back. I know you mentioned it.
I do want to take because we want to take the kids. So like,
Yes.
Well, we'll have to plan something maybe.
fuck yeah.
Mike said, "I hate
Yeah,
heights and I'm
our
somewhat
hometown in
claustrophobic."
Ohio is about halfway between here and
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's not bad.
yeah,
So you can stop off there real quick or whatnot.
yeah. I can show you where the hood at, son.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah, I can show you what it was like for your boy.
it's gonna be
It was
safe
rough
for
goings out there, man.
white boy over here. You know?
Listen, I make no promises.
No.
I mean, like I'm with him.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's the thing about
Well, see, this is why I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't go.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like-
Oh yeah.
It's like here in town, you always see a black guy with a white guy. He's got his sponsor. It's okay.
Yeah. Listen, I'm no kidding. Every time there's a couple that live around here, and the only time you see them is when they're with their white person. I shit you not. That's the only time. Like I've seen them jogging. I've seen them at the park playing basketball. It's the same two all the time. I'm like, yo, he knows what's up.
I will say I did see one walking by himself one time. I was like, dude, where's your sponsor?
Oh my
Is that
God.
where you're at?
That's messed up. So messed up. You killed Brandon.
Hey.
Say, I'm not his sponsor. I'm his parole officer. I'm kidding. Most impressive.
That's aggressive shit.
Oh, aggressive. I thought you said impressive. My bad.
No.
Yeah, most aggressive. Yeah, that's for sure.
Solid.
But one last quick movie thing to move along from that topic, because I don't want to get in trouble. One last movie thing I wanted to admit or to present here. Apparently, Sony is making a reboot of Resident Evil. As you video gamers here on the channel probably know the game very well, and it now has a release date of September 18th, 2026, and they say it will be more horror focused and more faithful to the initial games than the old Mila Jovovich Resident Evil film.
So random ass jump scares from out of nowhere when you're running down the hallway and a zombie infected Doberman jumps through a window and scares the shit out of you.
Don't forget the liquor.
And you only got 2 bullets in your gun. Because
and then in order to run, you got to turn, and then more on, and then turn again, and one of those deals.
Oh my God, that game! I think it's the reason why I don't play scare games now. I think Resident Evil ruined it for me. The first ones, the other ones were a joke, but like the first Resident Evil games, when they were the first of its kind, were terrifying, dude. Terrifying.
I'll never forget. I was playing one of these games when they first come out, and we were just chilling in my my room and whatnot. Had a couple buddies over, and my sister was in the room, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, she does this like spider crawl on my back with her hand. Made me jump 10 feet in the air because we were like right in the middle of one of the scary scenes, So I'll never forget that. That was always fun.
Of course, you don't have all the lights on. It's kind of dim in the room. You got to set the mood. So like, I'm in my Friday nights because weekends. So my mom's like, you can stay up, play video games, whatever. And I didn't have a TV in my room at the time, and we had the big TV downstairs, in the living room. So it's me in this big ass 2-story house in the living room in the middle of the night with all the lights off, playing Resident Evil and getting the absolute shit randomly scared out of me for jump scares. And then I have to turn off a light. Like I go turn on a lamp in the living room. Like, let's calm down.
Calm down. But you have faith in Sony to maybe make a faithful adaptation. I mean, it is Sony, but
I don't know. I think it's one of those.
It better be good.
It's one of those.
Can't be worse more than the last
dead
movie.
Horse. Yeah, but we're beating a dead horse here. Like Resident Evil, it's a zombie game, right? I think now the market's oversaturated with zombie content. I think The Last of Us shit.
Walking Dead, which has gone on spinoffs way too long.
I think we're out of that whole phase. I think after the World War Z's and all that shit, I think we're out of that phase of horror games. And again, Resident Evil as a game hasn't been, I don't know, that game
in recent memory.
Time.
A lot of kids nowadays may not care about it. Us, people who are a little older maybe remember more. But Slar, on the other hand, she says she loves those games. So the games are great, especially the early ones.
They're not,
especially the early ones. But like the ones now, like it's the same. It's the same way I felt about the Tomb Raider games. I felt like they kind of lost their way after a while, and I just stopped playing them. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's the same way with the Resident Evil games. They get too in the weeds. With the game. I think that's what happens with a lot of things that have this weird longevity. They just get too far away from what they originally were because they're trying to make things more interesting, and they just fail, but they lean on those things. And it's like, I'm over it.
Yeah, I can understand that. So yeah, I guess we'll find out how it goes come September 18th. Ironically, this movie now comes out a week after Clayface for the DCU. So some interesting stuff
that's good.
coming up around Halloween of 2026. There'll be some interesting films coming out in theaters. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes, and we'll see if they end up making it better than Like I said, I didn't mind Mila Jovovich versions, but that last one was not too many jump cuts and things like that. It's like,
and they
you
also
just couldn't-
ruined the Monster Hunter movie too. Fucking piece of shit.
I didn't mind that movie though. Maybe it was just me.
It didn't make a look.
You're more of a fan of the games though than I am. So, I mean, I like the
But
games.
you've also
alright.
played those games.
I have.
If your bullets are not stopping this fucking thing, all right, let's stop shooting it. It's the same thing I have with the whole Transformers thing.
Yeah, fair.
Stop shooting them. Like
Yeah.
you're wasting ammo at this
Yeah,
point.
what are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, you're increasing the risk of hitting a bystander now. Just knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
This could have been a way cooler movie if you'd have left the modern aspect of it out and literally just told a movie to introduce the world of Monster Hunter and the story of Monster Hunter. Like, oh my God, it would have been better. It just would have been better if you'd have just left the whole time traveling weird ass getting sucked into like the whole Mortal Kombat of being of, hey, now we're here, we got to do this thing. Like, that's fucking weird. Like, I think it would have been better if you would have just left it to the movie. Like, this was your opportunity to literally take a video game and make it into a movie.
Yeah.
And they blew it. That's my biggest gripe about the whole thing was like, you had the opportunity to could have started a new series like Jurassic Park, but like, you got to kill these motherfuckers.
Right. Yeah.
There's real repercussions of these bitches to survive. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like, you have to keep these herds in check. Like,
Jurassic Park.
it would have been way better. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
still upset over that mutant dinosaur.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Matt is obsessed with that D-Rex and
let it
Jurassic
go.
World Rebirth coming up.
I'm trying to will it to be awesome, but I know it's going to suck. So let's.
Well, you don't know that.
Please come into it with an open mind.
You need to, apparently.
Yeah, if you think it sucks. I thought you were like on the, it's going to be great.
We have needed a Rancor caliber monster in movies for a while.
Yeah, you could have got that with the Monster Hunter if they'd have done it right, but whatever.
That Monster Hunter dropped the
See-
ball on that shit.
I'm going to tie this into something else too. Aaron, I had this conversation with Aaron about doing a D&D campaign around Monster Hunter, like, because it would be kind of easy but very interesting.
There you
to
go,
pull
just
it
for
off.
you, Matt.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's essentially what the next monster in Jurassic World Rebirth probably looks like. This is kind of a rendering, but
Does he have two little arms? I didn't see that at first.
I didn't see the little arms either.
He got the
Really, I
T-Rex
didn't-
arms.
I don't know if
Little
it.
baby T-Rex
Maybe.
arms.
I guess
Miranda,
that's.
what are your thoughts?
That is creepy.
I mean,
That is
Looks
weird
sluggish.
looking.
yeah, it's supposed to be like a
It's
mutant
supposed to be
or
a
like
mutant
a
of
like
bunch
a,
of-
a dinosaur gone bred wrong.
Yes.
It's got like a T-Rex face.
Well, it's got
But
like a Rancor type face and head, but
But it-
a little
but
bit of
you
the
clearly
alien
see
in
the
there.
T-Rex. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
clearly
the
see
alien in the
T-Rex.
dome. Yeah, and the T-Rex.
That's like the back of
Rancor mixture.
Yeah.
oh my God. It's got like raptor claws.
I'm
as
curious to see
hands.
what he uses those little arms for.
You don't want to know.
Self pleasure. That's so you can't get away.
Oh my God. That's messed up.
Great. That's gonna be the new Pornhub anime.
No doubt. Mike in the chat was asking Slara, is it okay to ask where she is from? Just curious. And she responded, I lived around the West Coast, but now closer to the East Coast. My guess would have been Texas because of the cowboy thing, but there's cowboy fans all over. So
Yes.
fair enough. But yeah, I mean,
Bread.
yeah, no doubt about it. So we're glad to have you here either way, Slar, no matter where you may be viewing us from. So thank you very much for being a loyal watcher. We don't have a whole lot of those just yet, you and Mike for sure, but we've got 80 people watching right now. So if you're watching this for the very first time, thank you for doing so, by the way.
Yeah.
Please hit that like and subscribe. Get us growing here a little bit,
Yes.
especially on Rumble. We're doing okay on
Hey,
Rumble.
on
I need
Monday,
to
you
get back
guys-
on. I need a what?
On Monday, let Kathy know we miss her.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen her in a while.
I did mention it to Kathy.
Not only that, she said something along the lines of she had some she moved her router so she'd be able to like watch it, maybe even join the show at some point, and she just kind of fell off the face of the earth. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna have to mention
She's got a lot going on. So.
She does, I'm sure. Yeah.
She says she watches sometimes, but she doesn't. She doesn't get to comment, but she watches, but not for the whole time.
Well, she got an honorable mention today, so.
Exactly. We still love her no matter whether she watches or not.
Oh,
but yes. No doubt about it. All right. Well, speaking of the Cowboys, let's get into some NFL news that has dropped this week. We got a little bit of news coming up with the start of the new league year next week. So let's check that out. All right. So, like I said, free agency and the NFL new league year begins next Wednesday, I believe, March 12th. I don't know if it's 4:00 or it's sometime in there. But we got some news that have, like I said, before the new league year starts and all the moves officially become official, a lot of teams do a lot of their maneuvering the week leading up to it, and then kind of sign all the big deals the day of to kind of have it ready to go for the new league year to start. So we got a lot of big news coming up here with the NFL. But Starla also mentioned that her father lived in Texas most of his life, so watching the games with him was precious moments for her. So yeah, and I know Mike can kind of sympathize with that because his dad's a big Chicago fan and stuff too. I do have a question for Matt, but it's baseball, not football. Well, fire away. We'll kind of work it in here best as we can here. So Matt's interested in talking about baseball as much as possible. But
cricket sometimes.
What's that?
He talks about cricket sometimes. That was odd.
Yeah, I like cricket.
I must have missed that one. You got to know what a crumpet is before you understand cricket.
Okay. All right. Move along.
I know Brandon and Aaron got that movie reference anyway. All right. Moving along.
There went our 80 subscribers.
No, we got more than 80 subscribers. We don't have as many. For almost 500 people on YouTube, we got like almost 40 on Rumble, and we get a lot of viewers on X and Facebook too. So I'm not worried about the numbers too much. It's not bad since we've only been doing it consistently now for about a year. So I'm going to try and get better and be more consistent about clipping out the shows and stuff. I think that does draw in some subscribers and viewers. So that's on me. I'll do a little better at that as much as I can. But the news when it comes to the NFL, when we'll get to Mike's baseball question whenever he brings it in, the Washington Commanders, or the Redskins, as Aaron likes to call them, has officially traded for San Francisco wide receiver Deebo Samuel.
Not like I like to call them, like true blue fans, or red in this case, call them.
Maroon.
Modified by the agenda of the last 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. I don't disagree with you. So the first trade of the NFL offseason was Deebo Samuels to the Washington Commanders, now joining Jaden Daniels and the Commanders in exchange for a 5th-round pick. So they got him kind of cheap. Now he's getting a little older. But I still think he was probably the best receiver on the team for the 49ers. Washington has taken on a remainder of Samuel's contract and is paying his full $17.5 million salary for the 2025 season. Now, the Niners did kind of begin planning for this as a real possibility of being Samuel's entering into the final season of his contract when they used the 31 overall pick last year for Ricky Pearsall, who got shot in the offseason, by the way. So hopefully he'll be more, full bore here coming into the season. I know he did play a little last year, but they also re-signed Brandon Ayuk, who I think was overpaid a bit because, boy, did he stink last year. I didn't want my fantasy team. And Juwan Jennings to a 2-year, $15 million contract, too. So they're going to be fine at receiver in San Francisco. They got to worry more about whether or not McCaffrey is going to be healthy. So good to see.
Big boy pants.
What's that? Deebo?
Moving in your big boy pants is what Brandon Ayuk did.
Yeah, that was not good.
No, it was not.
And I think Deebo has had some injury history a little bit recently, but I think it's a good move for the Commanders. You put him with Terry McLaurin, and of course, they got a pretty solid squad already. Just makes Jaden Daniels all that more dangerous, no doubt about it. Very versatile wide receiver, no doubt about it.
Brandon, did you watch Brandon Ayuk's season last year?
Didn't he get hurt?
It was like,
he was off and on, yeah.
He was off and on, but it was like how to lose your spot in the NFL.
He bitched about all that shit before the beginning of the season started. They held out on his contract and all that other shit, and then that's what you got. I mean, that's what happens when you don't get to go to training camp, or you refuse to go to training camp, or whatever the fuck takes place. Like, that's what happens.
It's just unfortunate. Slara, first of all, said the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies were the 90s ones, and I agree with that one for certain.
For sure.
And Mike said the question he had for Matt was just wondering Matt's thoughts, if he hasn't expressed them already, about the ban on Pete Rose possibly being lifted, clearing the way for possible Hall of Fame induction. And he followed that up and he said it's kind of crappy to wait until he's gone to do this.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
I will make this brief. I have always thought Pete Rose was a great Hall of Fame player. I do not think Pete Rose was a Hall of Fame coach. And the reason why I say that is because you don't gamble on your own team and make
Well, of
the
course
Hall
not.
of Fame.
Yeah.
Now, I get that Trump's getting ready to pardon him or whatever. They're talking about that, and it's been a discussion for a while. Personally, I have always loved just seeing Pete Rose in the Reds Hall of Fame. I really have. I think
Also-
he probably should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. He really probably should be. But I don't – it's going to be hard to put him in and then overlook Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds in the entire steroid era. That's my thought.
That's the whole thing. Also, just so you know, fun fact, Matt, I know Mike knows this and we all know this. Pete Rose is in the WWE Hall of Fame, though.
Yes, he is.
So getting his butt kicked by Kane for a few years there.
From what I heard,
Or, I'm sorry, the mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs. Let's get
Vince McMahon did that on purpose. You know that, right, Eric? To stab at Rob Manfred. This was a jab at Rob Manfred for not letting him in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It was a clear shot across the bow.
I didn't know that, but it totally sounds like a Vince McMahon thing to do. No doubt about it.
It was. And I agree. I actually, the first time, I actually agree with Vince on this one.
Interesting. We also got some other moves. Interesting one for me in particular. The Bengals have now franchise tagged T. Higgins, their number 2 wide receiver. This is the second year in a row they franchised T. Higgins, who would have become a free agent. I would have personally loved to seen him come to Indianapolis, but
yeah, that's shitty. The franchise tag him the second
T.
time
Higgins
around.
is going to want out of that place.
Yeah,
he's not getting the proper respect he deserves. Now I understand why you don't want to let him walk, but pay the man. You know what I'm saying?
If you're not going to pay him, then let him go.
The reason why they're not paying him, though, is because they got to pay Jamar Chase or Trey Hendrickson. But we're going to talk about Hendrickson in a minute.
But you don't need to let him go somewhere else where he could get the money he deserves.
You don't need to pay Jamar Chase.
From what I understand, I think the Bengals are more concerned that they think Joe Burrow wouldn't be very good unless he has a number 2 receiver on top of Chase.
Well, you're not going to get a happy number 2, so what's the point?
I don't foresee Joe Burrow sticking around in Cincinnati for very much longer. Really?
Well, maybe not. I mean,
I'm not being mean to. I hate to break it to Bengals fans, but he's going to have to go somewhere for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, maybe so.
Cincinnati so far is not.
Hey man, and he's not that far.
Brandon, we have a higher chance of getting Aaron Rodgers.
Shut up.
Don't you bite your tongue. The Giants are getting him. Calm down. That way you ain't got to move. You think I'm kidding? That's actually a report out there. I didn't have that one tonight, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers is potentially heading to the Giants. So at least still have
Aaron Rodgers should just retire. Let it go.
Fans.
At least still have that receiver. He's got Malik Neighbors there, so at least he's got that. But other than that, I mean, you know,
he had Devontae Adams.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say Devontae is at the peak of his career anymore either. But you're right. He had somebody he should have been good with, but wasn't. And you think the Giants are going to be any better than the Jets? No. That's my opinion.
Retire from football.
We got Mike in the chat saying, before I say goodbye later, I wanted to let you all know I won't be joining you all the next 2 weeks. That'll kind of stink. And as Laura said, sad day. I'll be in the comments all alone. That's okay. We'll still keep you company. And then, of course, Mike said, we're leaving late next Friday, flying to Florida to my sister-in-law's for spring break and won't fly back until late next Friday. Dude, don't even worry about us. Go to Florida.
Spring break sounds lit, buddy.
I mean, bring me back some Star Wars merch from Disneyland.
Yeah, I feel like he just needed to tell us that because he's going to.
Yeah, brag. Yeah, he's like, look, notice how the first comment had ... because I got something else to tell you. I don't blame you. I brag about that too. Yeah, by all means, get out of here. Go where it's nice and warm and stick your toes in the nice sands in the beach. You know what I'm saying?
Not doing none of that. I'm not sticking my feet in the ocean no more.
I didn't say ocean. I said the beach. Just watch out for glass.
back to
But, yeah.
T. Higgins and what you were saying, Aaron.
Right.
I really feel like you have to find common ground with your players.
Yeah, you do.
I don't really feel Cincinnati's really doing their part at finding the common ground with their players. It's kind of like you're going to stay in limbo until the other team surpasses you in the division.
Mm-hmm. No.
Which the Steelers already have. Really, I mean.
And look, this is T. Higgins getting franchise tagged the last 2 years in a row. Gotta love the comments every now and then for certain. Some other big news: the Jets, the aforementioned Devontae Adams, is being released by the New York Jets. So no Aaron Rodgers there anymore. So what's the point of keeping him around? I suppose. I think Alan Lazard is also on the move as well. So the Jets are going to have a different offense next year for certain. As far as the Cowboys are also making a few moves. They restructured CeeDee Lamb's contract. CeeDee Lamb said, "I want to win. It's going to take more than just myself." And
take a pay cut, you obnoxious.
He just did.
Oh.
Well, not only that, they also restructured the deal for Dak Prescott. So with both those moves, the Cowboys have now freed up $56 million for free agency. So we'll see if they use that. One of those restructuring was not for the salary cap. One of those restructurings was to get rid of something. And I think they've also got to sign Micah Parsons, if I'm not mistaken. That may be part of the deal. And I've also been just hearing rumors they may be interested in like one of the top running backs in the draft. So that may be another consideration. Going for that old triplet formula that worked for them back in the 90s. So maybe that could be what they're looking at here. I don't know.
I don't foresee Dak Prescott being on the Cowboys 2 years from now.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We've said that for a while, maybe even, and he's still there. So, but at least now, in my opinion, we talked about how much he was getting paid a few podcasts ago, restructuring his deal to kind of make the rest of the team kind of have more money and maybe you could build around them better. I think this is a good move for the Cowboys. I do. Because Tom Brady and the Patriots did it all the time.
But it just depends on what
you do.
The boss wants to do. Like, if
maybe Jerry Jones is wising up in his old age. I don't know.
You only hope.
Someone tell that to Jim Irsay.
Man.
By the way, Mike said, "Hey, someone told me next week it might get in the 70s here." Yeah, it's supposed to. I think not for very long, but yeah, it is. And then maybe this is a turning point for them boys, is what Slara said. Maybe. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But time will tell on that one. You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to wait and see. Some other big moves. I know I got quite a few here. We're going to kind of breeze through some of these here. Joey Bosa has been released from the Los Angeles Chargers. So another big name on the defensive line there for the defensive end position could be available for a lot of teams. We've also got Max Crosby has now extended his contract to a whopping $106 million extension with $91 million guaranteed, making him one of the highest paid defenders in the NFL. Well deserved. He's one of the bright spots on that Raiders team for sure. With Pete Carroll there now too, he wants to solidify that defense, so it makes a lot of sense.
But that's just rewarding a loyal person.
Agreed too. Speaking of Pete Carroll, the Seattle Seahawks are also making some moves. They are releasing Tyler Lockett, one of the. Yeah, so I think I don't know if he'll end up with Pete Carroll in Las Vegas, but one of the other Seattle Seahawks wide receivers could, and that is of course DK Metcalf has now requested a trade from the team. And not only that, before the show went on the air live. Huh?
If you're Chris Ballard, get on the phone now.
Oh, no, we don't want DK I don't want DK or Tyler, especially Tyler.
Why do you not want DK Metcalf?
DK is also very injury prone. Tyler Lockett is a boomer bust guy. We already got that.
He would be better than Alec Pierce, and he would be better than Michael Pittman.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Alec Pierce was good when he got the ball.
But he's the boomer bust guy, more like a Tyler Lockett, at least for now.
But I'm 100% sure that he's better than Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
All right, we're done.
No, you just say that because you lost out on him. Way to go.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Seahawks, though, before we went live on the podcast, a late breaking news item: Geno Smith, the quarterback of the Seahawks, has now been traded to Pete Carroll's team in Las Vegas. So
what the fuck is Seattle doing?
They're starting over. Sounds like is all they're got now. We'll see about Metcalf. He has to be traded, but everybody else, the big names, are no longer in Seattle.
Does this a lot. They like to start over.
Well, new head coach, they're going to want to get their guys in there. It's going to take a few years for Seattle at this point.
Yeah,
but Pete Carroll is bringing the Las Vegas Seahawks into town from the looks of things.
I got to look the outside. I'll be right back.
So, yeah, we'll see how that ends up playing for all them. Let's see where I leave off here. We also got some retirements. We got the kicker for the Packers, Mason Crosby, announced his retirement, as well as a defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals, Sam Hubbard. Also, surprisingly, in my opinion, after only a 7-year career, announces his retirement. So that Bengals defense is looking a little bit shaky, more shaky than they already did. And, of course, like the one you want to talk about, Chris Ballard should be on the phone. They also decided to let Pro Bowl defensive end Trey Hendrickson seek a trade. The Colts have the Cincinnati Bengals former defensive coordinator as their new defensive coordinator. If Chris Ballard is not on the phone with the Bengals to get a trade offer in for Trey Hendrickson, they're stupid, because you put Trey Hendrickson with, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and Leatu Latu. That defensive line for the Indianapolis Colts could be scary. So yes, they need to make this happen, in my opinion. Thoughts, Matt?
Pretty much what you said. I agree. I mean, I like Latu as a player.
He's just got to develop still.
I really think that was a good draft. That may have been one of the better draft picks for the Colts.
Yeah,
for real.
Time will tell. Still early.
And I know that he's injury prone, but you know what?
Not really anymore.
But what people don't understand is when people play defense, you are injury prone regardless. I mean, you're putting your body on the line to tackle another man. You're going to get hurt. It's part of football.
Yeah, that's just the game, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of football. But I really like the draft pick for Latu. What makes me upset is part of me wants the hope that Chris Ballard knows what he's doing.
Mm.
But I want to see it on the field. You know what
I mean? Of
course.
Be a good start.
Let me put it this way. I want to see some results from the draft picks. I like the trading back, and I like stockpiling the second round picks. I thought that was a good philosophy. I mean, so a lot of teams don't do that. You know, they just tank and wait to get the number one pick and hope that one number one pick is a good player. When there's a multitude of good players you could draft from the pool. You know, I think he needs to be on the phone getting Trey Hendrickson.
Now, I want to get Brandon, you back? Maybe. I want to get Brandon's opinion on this if he's there.
Go ahead. What's up?
All right. So, do you know who this is?
No, I cannot see this.
This is Trey Hendrickson, the All-Pro defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals have now said they're going to allow him to seek the trade that he's looking for. So, since the Colts have the defensive coordinator from the Bengals as their new defensive coordinator now, this guy's an All-Pro defensive end. I think Chris Ballard should be on the phone with the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday.
Chris Ballard should be doing a lot of things, and if it's going to benefit making this team more enjoyable and a team to root for, then by all means.
He knows the system. Plus, I think he has the potential to be a TJ Watt type player. He really does.
Brandon and Eric.
No, then.
Fair enough.
Do you guys think that if the Colts start off,
at least he'll be out of your division, Miranda. He'll be in ours. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully not on an opponent.
Yeah, but we still have to play you.
Yeah, and you still got Myles Garrett to worry about at the moment. But yeah.
If the Colts start off 0-4 this year, do you guys see Chris Ballard retaining his job?
No.
I'll tell you what, no, and I won't care because I'm never watching another game after that. I swear to you.
I'm trying to give you hope, Brandon, just not trying to do it overly so, but
I'm being so for real. Like, I would choose a different team.
I can't do another losing season with him. I told him this year.
Well, good. Hopefully the gods will hear you, the football gods.
I can't do it. Give me some hope. That's all I want.
But Brandon, think about this. You add Trey Hendrickson, who knows the system already, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, and Leatu Latu. That's a hell of a defensive line. They're going to need it because their secondary's garbage. Yeah. But you can fix that too. But this would be a great move if they were somehow to pull it off. But trade, then it depends on what you got to give up to get him. Yeah. That would be like I said, this is an all-pro talent, so it wouldn't be cheap, most likely. So we'll see how it goes.
But he should be willing to do that, though.
Yeah. Ballard needs to make a splash like that. He doesn't normally do that sort of thing. Let's please see that this year. Come on, do something good here. Let's see what else we got. We got the Jaguars releasing Evan Ingram. He's kind of older in his career. I don't think that's a huge loss in my opinion.
No.
The Commanders re-signed Bobby Wagner. The Texans at the last minute traded for Christian Kirk, who the Jaguars were going to release. So maybe they were afraid he was going to get picked up on waivers, but the Texans maybe could have got him for free, or at least, just a contract, but not trading for. Now they only gave up a 7th round pick next year, so it's not a big thing.
They didn't lose anything.
No, not only that, I don't know. I want to say Christian Kirk might have even been on the Texans at one point back in the day, but it's not, in my opinion, like the greatest wide receiver anyway. But just some depth moves there for Houston. They had some injury problems there this year, so that may be partially the line of thinking. Speaking of depth moves, Tutu Atwell agreed to terms with the Rams. Who was a backup to Cooper Kupp and the aforementioned Puka Nacua. So a little bit of insurance policy there. So that makes a lot of sense for the Rams. And Saquon Barkley, the Super Bowl champion running back, extended his contract. Two-year extension for $41 million. So well-deserved. Definitely probably the best player in the league last year. Deserves that contract. So good on the Eagles. Gardner Minshew released by the Raiders as well. So does he end up back in Indianapolis as the quarterback competition?
That's exactly what's going to fucking happen.
Yeah. And he'll be able to compete for the starting. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but yeah, you're probably right.
What's wrong with that, Brandon?
He wasn't great.
Hey, Gardner Minshew was good. He went to the playoffs.
No. Did you watch him in Oakland last year? With that start, now he had that tight end who was great, and the Colts are actually looking at maybe getting it to good tight end from Penn State. I think is the guy they're looking at in the draft.
But Eric, they're talking about the Raiders.
I know
they couldn't find their way to their own stadium, let alone the Colts. They don't even know what they have.
Well, you know what? They better not beat us next time we play them now because you brought in your mouth. So yeah, that appears to be all the big NFL news that and Deshaun Watson also restructured his contract as well. So whether that was more of a forcing by the team because they're paying him too much or more willful, I don't know.
Too much?
Chug.
They were paying him a lot of fucking money to do nothing.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah. But anyway.
They gave up everything for Deshaun Watson and got nothing in return.
Yeah, and that may be more of we don't want to pay you no more, so you're going to take this pay cut. I don't know.
I don't know why it took this fucking long.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Browns are at least being smart when it comes to, not wanting to let Myles Garrett go, even though Myles Garrett is demanding a trade.
Myles wants out of fucking.
Do you blame him? No, no.
I get team loyalty. You can only hold on for so fucking long, but you got to recognize your own worth and where your talents are being wasted. And I'm sorry, that's where it's at. At the end of the day, you want to be rewarded for your hard work, and his numbers don't lie. He puts in the hard work, and you're just getting nowhere with this fucking team.
What if Myles Garrett ends up with the Steelers? I don't think the Browns are stupid enough to trade him in the division. Well, I don't know. It is a Browns move they probably make, isn't it?
If Myles Garrett
on Pittsburgh, then that defense is retarded.
That's going to make things interesting.
If him and TJ compete on opposite teams against each other, what the fuck do you think is going to happen if they're on the same team?
Let me tell you something.
Quarterback's worst nightmare.
If Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are on the same team, God help their practice squad quarterback.
Sucks for Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. I know that.
He is going to get hit. So, he's going to be permanently on the ground. For the rest of training.
Just stay there. Yeah.
They might as well stay on the ground.
Yeah, don't even bother getting up. Yeah.
That's
like I said, would the Browns actually trade him in the division? I don't know. Then again, the Giants did it to the freaking for the Eagles.
Another one you didn't mention was Max Crosby.
Yeah, I did.
Max Crosby. Did you mention him? I'm sorry if you did.
Yeah, early on. Yeah.
Okay, Max Crosby
well deserved.
is another player that I think he's really underrated. A lot of people don't,
But that's where you got to think about where he's at though, and that's why.
Big fish in a small pond, but But if they continue to build around him, though, it's a good start. You're talking about the Raiders sucking. That guy doesn't. So
he's the only one that actually on the Raiders that I actually would pay attention to on the scouting report. So,
brother, Mike said
I'm totally shitting on the Raiders because
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going. Don't worry, Mike. We're about ready to move on to politics anyway. He said, "All right, guys, I'm about to crash like last week, which I apologize for.
You're all right.
But sorry, I won't be able to join next couple of weeks. But I'll be thinking of you all while I'm late night free balling in my sister's in-laws hot tub. So
Okay, all right. That's, you know what I'm saying? First of all, that sounds like a euphemism for something else, but that's either here or there. But
Aaron, what's your comment?
Apparently, you can only get away with that in New Jersey, Mike. So you're going the wrong state.
so we can call him Jersey Mike. That'd be sweet.
All right, we're done.
What? Yeah,
I
they
think
make
it's
sandwiches.
Mike.
Yeah.
Nah, 'cause now you got to think about him making sandwiches in that same connotation or context of what we were talking about, and it's gross.
As long as he washes his hands first.
That's way worse.
Tracy talk. But thanks for watching, Mike. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Hope you have a good trip. Be safe, by the way.
Yeah, be safe.
And yeah, keep us updated. Make sure you guys are all good and all that good
Yeah,
jazz.
post some pictures of you on the beach so we can live vicariously.
Careful what you wish for him, Brandon. Stop it. You know, we won't post him here, but God knows what he'll send us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Never mind. Never
Yeah.
mind. Take it back. I don't need to see you in a Speedo. That's crazy.
God bless it, man. Oh,
Banana
Anyway.
hammocking it up.
no, stop.
No shirt on.
Oh, God.
Hamburger meat hanging out.
You send that to him alone. Don't put it in the group chat, Mike.
Look at
I'm telling
real
you.
Miami.
I don't want it. Don't need it.
Looking real Miami.
I'm about to block you. I'm just saying.
All right, time to roast some Dems.
And Slara also said good night, Mike. So yes, awesome. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into the politics section, and I know y'all love that, so let's check it out. Here we go.
Make America great again.
He looks so uncoordinated, but he's on rhythm. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like he's
Yeah,
on-
did you ever watch Seinfeld? And you ever watch Elaine dance?
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of that. And I'm not saying he's not the greatest dancer in the world because he's not, but I don't care. It's really let him have the fun, you know.
Like I said, he's on rhythm though. I can't knock him for it because he's on rhythm. It's just it looks so jerky.
Yeah, yeah. At least you know, there's been people who's made fun of this part of his dance too for weird
That's
reasons.
the easiest part, brother. That's the
But you know how haters be. Haters going to hate the player. But anyway, Mike said, by the way, okay, I promise no Speedo, Brandon. So wink, wink.
No, never mind. I take it back.
You started it. It's your fault.
I'm forwarding those pictures straight to Miranda. Oh God, I am.
It is a Speedo.
Why would you do that to your wife?
I actually do have a picture of me in Speedo.
Oh, don't, man.
What?
Don't, no. Why'd you bring that up on live television?
Wait, time out. Hold on.
I swam
Hold on.
in high school.
Oh, okay.
I still don't need to see it.
I thought this was for, you
Hell
know,
no.
one of that deals. Well, you said you bought a lot of stuff at the store that one time, so I'm
No.
assuming. Okay.
Were you in like the
You're gonna get it for that one.
Hey, Dragon's Den After Dark started early. Anyway.
we still need to make that a thing.
I know. We're gonna have to start charging people for this. But then we got to come up with like raunchy topics and.
Oh,
Brandon,
don't worry, I got you covered there.
Yeah, Brandon's got it.
Think that we could not find a topic.
Oh yeah, I've heard about your infamous car rides to work. You could figure it out.
We would just start writing the stuff down and be like, "This is what we're going to talk about."
Yeah,
this right.
Yeah, I'll leave that to you all, and God knows you'll use that to embarrass me too. I promise you.
This will be dealt with at a later date.
Yeah,
I'm just
stay
saying,
tuned.
Matt, you said you was in a Speedo. That was the only thought I had. You
I know.
are, you know.
I know.
It went down on you.
I
That's all
know.
I'm
I know
saying.
how it went down.
You'll be so read by the conversations we will have. People will think you're Native American.
Man.
More so than Elizabeth Warren.
Woo!
Yes.
Ah, don't take much.
Don't be hating on Pocahontas like that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about her in just a minute too, based on
Yeah.
that exact comment. But anyway, let's start off with some kind of fun here. Democrats apparently are all out of ideas, ladies and gentlemen, because they are now resorting to poorly creative TikTok videos, and they're kind of reminiscing on the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Super Smash Brothers motif. So, I mean,
why did they all hop in the frame like that?
because it was like their character was spawning in on the selection screen and they're doing the bounce up and down on a fighting game. I mean, I get what they're going for, and don't get me wrong, it's kind of funny, but if you're going to do TikToks, no, if you're going to do TikTok, especially these are supposed to be our, the leaders of our country. You know what I mean? TikTok videos are fine. Trump is on TikTok. I got no problem with you doing TikTok videos, but your content has to have substance, in my opinion. This just says we're going to fight against Trump. That's what they're trying to say. And regardless of whether what he does is good for the country or not, and that's just not good policy, because if he does something good for the country, you shouldn't be fighting him on it. And I would have said the same thing if Biden did something good. He just didn't. And this was never more evident than during Trump's speech this week, which we're going to get into in just a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, this whole acting as if they're, waiting to be selected, it's like, it's like, whatever.
Did they say too sweet on there?
Yeah, they even have like character descriptions. It's like,
no, brother.
Somebody from the Democrat Party saw this. Yeah, they thought it was a viral thing and they tried to recreate it, and it's like, oh my, this came off more cringe, really, to me. But believe what you want there. I just thought it was pretty interesting. But I wanted to touch on a couple of things that we could not talk about last week due to my internet being crap. But Dan Bongino was appointed to the FBI to be the FBI deputy director. Maybe I'll get that word out tonight. So congrats to him. And hopefully he'll do good work there over at the FBI under Kash Patel. But Harry Sisson, the Democrat DNC shill, as it were, was basically trying to paint Bongino as unqualified, and he fabulously failed at this. During this video, I want you to notice when Harry conveniently cuts away from the Trump post that he's reading, talking about Dan Bongino's appointment.
Major breaking news. Donald Trump and Kash Patel just appointed a MAGA podcaster to be the next deputy director of the FBI. Yeah, that's right. Another Trump-supporting political commentator will be serving in a significant role in our government. Donald Trump just announced, quote, "Great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel." This is Dan Bongino, by the way, the man in question. He's spread insane conspiracy theories about the 2020 election, about Obama in 2016, and more, and he used to be a frequent Fox News commentator. He is not qualified for this role at all. The deputy director of the FBI runs the day-to-day operations at the Bureau, and now a Fox News MAGA commentator who has never worked at the FBI will be in that role? Are you kidding me? Trump is just stacking the federal government and these important roles with his buddies and people who are loyal to him. It's insane. My YouTube, my Instagram, and my Substack are linked.
Yeah. We don't care about all your stuff. But did you notice how he was standing in front of this Trump post and he was reading it, but he stopped right when Trump got into Dan Bongino's qualifications? Now, why would that be, Harry? Would reading further on ruin your bullshit narrative? Because if he kept reading, Trump went on to say Dan has a master's degree in psychology from CUNY and an MBA from Penn State. He was a member of the New York Police Department for, I believe, 5 years, a highly respected special agent with the United States Secret Service for like 12 years. And I think he even served under Obama and Clinton as well, and is now one of the most successful podcasters in the country. So again, Harry Sisson knew that, but he conveniently left all that out when he was talking about that, just to make it look like, Dan Bongino is just a right-wing podcaster who's been on Fox. But that's just what the left does, and it's just absolutely absurd. Here's the older millennial just pointing him out on his stupidity.
A MAGA podcaster to be the next deputy director of the FBI.
Do you understand how fucking disingenuous you got to be to refer to Dan Bongino as just a MAGA podcaster? Like, not only did Bongino spend 5 years as a New York City police officer, but he then followed that up by spending 12 years as a special agent in the United States Secret Service, where he was assigned to the Presidential Protection Detail for both George Bush and Barack Obama.
Not Clinton.
This is a man who has literally been trusted with the protection of the President of the United States. And not just one, but fucking two of them. And then, after he survived cancer, he has worked in independent media. And that's the dude that you're referring to as a MAGA podcaster. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Not only that, Harry said, "Oh, he pushed conspiracy theories about Obama." He worked for Obama, so don't you think he would know?
Yeah, but the conspiracy theories about Obama aren't conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
They're starting to become
just like he
true.
spread conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. Oh, you mean he told the truth about it?
That's the thing. It's starting to become the truth.
Yeah. And he wasn't the only one who got appointed as well. Speaking of right-wing podcasters, you guys love MAGA podcasters so much. Let's add another one. How about Graham Allen, host of the Dear America podcast, also takes a position at the Pentagon. So same as before, the left once again tried to, he's a right-wing podcaster narrative, but they also failed to mention that Graham Allen here also served in the United States military. So again, Trump is not just pulling these people because they're loyal to him. No, they're qualified and they know what they're talking about and what they're doing. And it sucks too because Bongino and Graham Allen is one of the two I kind of really like listening to. So
as the president of the United States, isn't it their obligation to appoint people that are loyal and are people that you trust? I mean,
yeah, and they're not going to stab you in the back. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. How did that become an evil thing?
Yeah.
And they're ones to talk about qualifications because wasn't it said that their president last year wasn't competent to stand a trial, but he was competent to be president?
Yeah, due to his poor memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a well-meaning old man with a poor memory. We can't throw him in jail, but he can run the free world. Bunch of BS. But yeah, so, keep crying, libs. Just keep crying. This next clip was from last week's Bill Maher TV show.
Bill Maher.
Now, Bill Maher's show, this interview he was doing here, him and his panel suggest potentially getting rid of elections when, quote, people get it wrong. This is highly concerning. Let's listen to this.
Question. What do you do when people like a party and elect it? Because they can't, he talked about, wait a second, I'd heard this, I'd not heard the story, he cited this, he said Romania canceled an election recently. Apparently there was Russian interference. I think there's going to be foreign interference in every election from now on for the rest of our lives.
Well, here we go.
And somebody from the European Union said, well, we might have to do that in Germany too. What do you do when the people get it wrong? Because sometimes they do. I remember in Algeria in the 90s, they had an election and the people got it wrong and they elected, the Islamists. And after the the Arab Spring in 2011, Egypt voted and they voted for the wrong people, the Muslim Brotherhood. Sometimes they do get it wrong. What do you do when the people do that? When the people want the wrong party? Do you cancel elections? Because that doesn't seem like the right thing either.
So, many years ago, I coined this phrase, illiberal democracy, meaning when a majority of people vote for a party that then systematically gets rid of freedom of the press, gets rid of independent judiciary. You do, and it's a danger. It's a really dark place because, and it's not just a theory. This is what Viktor Orban does. In fact, Viktor Orban cites my illiberal democracy article and says that is what we want to be. We don't like liberal democracy. We like illiberal democracy.
So now, of course, they're also alluding here to Trump becoming Hitler. That's what they're talking about. Trying to make it like, what if the American people chose the wrong party? That's
I'm really getting tired of that.
Yeah. That's the angle that Bill Maher's taken with this, and it's really getting old. And now, to be fair, while it's worth mentioning here, Bill Maher did say getting rid of elections doesn't sound like a good idea either. So I'll give him credit there. At least he did state that. But this is highly concerning because what it sounds like is you're for democracy unless your side loses. I mean, not because of safety. Trump isn't doing anything like that and what you fearmonger about from your mountaintops there. Number one, just because your party loses, it doesn't automatically mean that there was foreign interference. Bill Maher thinks that elections will always have interference. If that's the case, did foreign interference happen when Obama and Biden won too? Or was it only when Democrats won or lost, I should say? Number two,
they make it up.
Yeah, number two, your party losing also does not mean that people got it wrong. So big assumption there. And number three, nobody has taken away freedom of the press either under Trump. No news agency is entitled to the Oval Office, the White House, or the Pentagon, and etc. There has been zero censorship, unlike under the Biden puppet regime. Discussions like this that Bill Maher is having are what make me despise people like Bill Maher. Because getting rid of elections because you don't like the outcome is what dictators do. Or as Joe Biden once put it, you can't only be happy when you win. Kind of sounds like what Bill Maher's doing right there. That's just my opinion. So think of that what you will. This week also on The View, Stephen A. Smith went on the program and did something that the cackling hens on that show know nothing about. And he spit facts, straight up facts. Something, and I want to preface this because I don't know if he says it here, but if he does, I'll repeat it for him. He starts this by saying, now look, I'm no fan of Donald Trump, but then he starts to talk about truth.
It's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
What's a different definition of a mandate, I guess?
But
Stop trying to deflect
is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that.
See, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, he is.
I've never heard that side of Stephen A.
Yeah. Well, he's become very political as of late, for
His show
certain.
lately has been very political.
I
This
didn't know
photo's-
they let men on The View.
That what?
I didn't know they let men on The View.
It's,
Only
I
when it
mean,
benefits
they
them.
let some people, yeah, when they think they could spin it to make a certain, president
Well,
look
I tell
bad.
you what, I've never heard that side of Stephen A. before.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to his show, it's very left favored.
Well, of course, he's a Democrat.
Yeah,
But,
I've never heard him. I've never heard him talk like that before. And the fact that a Democrat would talk like that
Exactly.
shows me how scared they are.
Well, not only that, he realizes they have to make real changes,
They have
which
to
a lot
make
of Democrats are not owning up to at this point. Now, the reason why I show this, because that's one of the few times I can remember seeing the truth spoken on The View, first of all. And Joy Behar didn't know how to react. If you look at this picture here, she looks stunned, and he looks like bored out of his skull. But I think he's in mid-sentence, and she's just like, what do we do here? But credit to Stephen A., as we said. He's only one of very few Democrats I've seen being honest about the MAGA mandate.
What happened?
Yeah, it is what happened. And I'll say this, though. He said the truth on The View. I just hope he showered after, because these are terrible women. But anyhow.
Those women are they're something else.
Do you have any thoughts on Stephen A. Smith, Brandon? I know.
No, I seen the same video.
I just know,
and
like,
I thought-
you watch a lot more sports like commentary stuff than I do sometimes. I didn't know
and
if
I
you
thought, well, good for him for actually stating facts. And you're right; they didn't know what to say to him. They're not used to people coming up there who align with them but have a different opinion or use facts. So it's awkward.
And you can see Joy Behar going, yeah, but that's a different definition. She's trying to spin it to kind of fit her narrative. No, what he said was factual. So, I mean, end of sentence. So I hate this. Yeah, sorry, Joy, move on. You'll end up hopefully soon like your other friend, Joy Reid, and on the unemployment line, in my opinion. So hopefully that'll happen. Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Race bait yourself to the White House.
Yeah.
That worked with Obama, but it's not going to work anymore.
No. Americans can see through this charade now.
Yeah, because Obama did. I mean, he wasn't bad. Not as bad as Biden, but he wasn't great either. He wasn't what he said he was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
absolutely. And we're going to talk a
Real
little bit more
quick
about
him.
race stuff.
Obama was being paid like $2.5 million. I think it was a year by Obamacare
Mhm.
because of the name.
I wouldn't doubt that a bit.
Really? Like just because his name's on it?
It's not.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow, that's corruption.
And Eric,
Yeah.
I sent you a video on X. It's Kid Rock talking
Okay.
about
Yeah.
what he's invited Bill Maher to dinner at the White House.
No kidding. I wonder if he would accept that. That'd be interesting to watch if he did. Okay. Well, I'll play that here in just a little bit here. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and do it now right quick since it ties into this. Let's do that here. Pull up the right thing. All right. Here we go.
I'm starting the end of the month. I'm taking Bill Maher to the White House for dinner.
Wow.
This guy's
That's
done nothing
great.
but talk smack
Yeah.
about the president since day one. But he's a comedian too.
Yeah.
And, I can have conversations with him, if you don't get into Trump, because I'm like, I
Right.
freaking love him.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't. I'm like, let's talk about other things. We can find common ground. He's actually, more reasonable than a lot of people on the right would think.
I think
especially the last maybe 4 years or whatever.
Can
So I said to him, I was doing his podcast, and I said, if I can hook you guys up, this, that, and the other. And trust me, there's a lot more people deserving at that table, for dinner. So it's a big deal to me to, bring him there and even have the president be like, yeah, do it. Let's do it. I go, man, what would it say to this country? Let's start at the top where you very public figures, him, television comedian, you president of the free world. We could just break bread, have some laughs, take a picture and be like, hey, we don't agree on everything, but we got along. Does that start to send a message to people, or do they just think I'm an idiot?
Yeah.
Does Bill Maher look soft for going? Does Trump look weak? Like, I'm like,
No.
man, I think we just got to start somewhere like there and be like, look, man, we just had dinner. We had some laughs, we had fun. Like, maybe call that family member that you got into it over politics, or that person, and just at the school that, you don't like to talk to anymore, that you used to have a coffee with in the morning. Maybe just get back with him and be like, look, man, it's okay. Everybody calm down a little bit.
I like that idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, and to Bill Maher's credit, he has said one of those things like, one of the things that we just don't talk to each other as a country anymore a lot of times. If he wants to set a good example, this is a perfect idea for that. Especially since he is one of those people out there I can't stand, because he constantly pushes that whole, he's got dictator, tendencies and all this stuff. If he actually spent time with the man, I would like to think maybe he'd kind of back off on that and be like, that's not true. But he doesn't. He always, he's going to be Hitler. He's going to do this or that. He's going to get rid of the Constitution. No, he's not. But maybe that's just me. But I don't know. This is a great idea. It sounds like it's a done deal.
Yeah,
based on way, like it's going to happen. So, when did he say this month? Something like that.
The end of this month, yeah.
The end of this month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll. I don't think they'll videotape the whole thing, but I'd like to hear their thoughts afterwards. Yeah.
I'm just curious to hear what just the common liberal thinks of what he has done to be considered a Nazi or to be like Hitler. What are the comparisons?
Oh, they think, he's deporting people because. But that's the thing. Their opinions are like, he's deporting people because their skin color. He don't like. That's not why though. They don't understand the reasoning why. They just like mix it all together. Like, they're different colors or skin or creed or whatever. That's why he's doing it. No, it's not. They think that, so they think he's Hitler. But
isn't the head of his the maintenance for the Trump Towers? Isn't she a former Mexican or She migrated the proper way over here.
Yeah, not only that, his cabinet's filled with different, races and creeds, and it's stupid. We've talked about that.
Aaron, can you elaborate more on former Mexican?
Former Mexican is crazy.
For me, please.
Mexican American.
Former resident of Mexico, but now lives.
Yeah, that's what he meant. Yeah, everybody calm down.
We had some difficulty getting to that one.
They paid their way. They did the homework, and they got citizenship. That's what.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. Now we got that settled. Yeah, that was funny. FBI New York field office head James Dennehy has been forced to resign after withholding thousands of Epstein files from the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi last week. Pam Bondi says after the rollout debacle with the binders that we kind of well, they did a good job talking about. I couldn't. But she now has all the files, she says, and they're going through them now. Here's her talking about that on Fox News.
And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, you know, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept, Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Cash is going to, Director Patel is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay. So do we believe her this time? She did serious damage to her reputation last week, and she said these new files were going to be actually heavily redacted due to national security. So who knows if we'll be getting anything or any substance at this point, but if she pulls through and does deliver, that trust can be mended, but not off to a great start as Pam Bondi. Any other thoughts on that?
No.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to see anything at this point. It almost feels like she promised something that she couldn't deliver, and now she's trying to save face. That's what it feels like to me. I hope I'm wrong, but
I hope too, because I would love to see these fucking things so we can get these people accounted for.
Why are they redacted? That's annoying.
Well, for national security, other people, or for a lot of people thinking maybe like certain other governments were involved and stuff too. So I don't know, but that part should probably be released too.
If they're involved, then we should have the right to know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miranda.
The conspiracy is that Epstein is CIA. So I'm sure there's all kinds of national security issues with it.
Which may be why they've been kept under wraps for so freaking long. So I just don't know if I like the idea of certain things are released, but other things are not. But
it should all be released.
So criticism where criticism is due here. If she don't pull through with this somehow, some way, it's going to be a bit of a black mark on her early career here, which is what I was wanting to say last week and I was unable to do. But yeah.
Do you plan on talking about the Joe Rogan podcast with Ian Carroll?
Ian Carroll? No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, Ian, or not?
Oh, Elon.
Hold on. No,
not Elon.
it's.
Okay. I know Elon said on that show he thinks Democrats are
The
trying to kill him.
Rogan podcast. Yeah, that was something.
And I don't
watched
disagree with
most
him.
of
I
that
think
one.
I think he's right too.
It was Ian, the one that's it's Ian Carroll.
Oh, I thought you said E. Jean Carroll. I'm sorry.
They talked about no, yeah,
yeah, sorry.
Do you know who Ian Carroll is on X?
I've seen the name, but not really. No.
Okay, well, he was just on Rogan recently, and they went in depth about Pizzagate. Pizzagate ties into Epstein,
right?
Like big time. So,
Big time.
if
So did you
Rogan's willing to talk about it, hopefully something's going to be coming. But I don't know.
I hope so.
Pam Bondi's going to be the one that fucking does it.
Like I said, that whole rollout last
Oh,
week,
trust-
which was so embarrassing, because again, to me, it was like she went on Jesse Waters the night before and said, "Yeah, we've got all this, we've got these names, we got this and this and this," but it was everything we knew before, as Miranda pointed out on the show last week. Nothing new. She had to have known that when she rolled out those freaking binders. Somebody rolled out those binders. She knew what was in it. So she had to know it was going to be a disappointment. Then got the big backlash. Then she sends a letter to Kash Patel, supposedly, saying, well, why ain't we got all the information? Well, shouldn't you have done that before you released the binders? You know, it felt like you were lying to us. So, again, I've always said on this podcast, if the Trump administration does something that needs to be criticized, we're going to criticize it too. I don't put this at Trump's feet. I mean, if he appointed the wrong person, maybe, but I don't think that's necessarily the case yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. Pam Bondi needs to have an eagle eye on her, make sure she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. That's just my personal opinion on it. Any other thoughts on it?
Same way. Like,
no.
I mean,
she sounded really nervous or unprepared on that in that Fox interview. I don't know.
It's almost like Jesse Water caught her off guard and she didn't want to say nothing. But then once she said, like, and maybe what she had, she was ready to roll out. But again, if it wasn't something we had already seen before, it'd have been like a little bit more substantive, and it just kind of, came out flat in my opinion. But yeah. But moving on from that.
I want to see some more career smearing.
Shoot, all you gotta do is watch a Democrat podcast. You'll see plenty of that.
Yeah. I want to see Republicans smearing Democrats' careers.
They do that to themselves. We don't have to do it for them.
Yeah, they put out TikTok videos.
Yeah, did you not see that earlier? And not only that, we just wait a couple minutes. We'll get into the speech. So yeah,
God.
don't worry. They did it. They just find themselves. Before we get into that, though,
going back to that TikTok video, why did every single one of their characters, the main focus was like their race?
Yeah,
Like,
because that's what they do.
I was the first in this race, and it's like, okay, congratulations, be better.
Yeah, we don't care.
Do better.
I mean, we care about what you do, and you ain't doing anything.
Yeah.
It's the whole DEI, mentality that they got going on. But anyway, this week also, though, begun the trade wars have. A trade war officially kicked off between the United States and Canada, Mexico and China. Even though Canada and many other countries have been tariffing the United States for years, though. So I wouldn't say this is like a new thing. But so why is Donald Trump doing this? I found this video that explains why Trump is doing this, and he's sticking to his guns on this. I think it's very informative for those of you who don't know why Trump is actually continuing to do this tariff stuff with other countries. Here's a good explanation why.
The most insane trade war has officially begun because Canada, Mexico, and China are pissed and have now all announced their own plans on how to retaliate against Trump's tariffs. So what the hell is going on? Well, you see, yesterday Trump's promised 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% on China officially kicked in. What that means is that any goods sent from these countries to the United States will now cost companies 25% more, or 10% in China's case. So for example, if a Canadian business sent a car to the US that cost $50,000, today US companies will pay a $12,500 tariff at the border. So the price of your once $50,000 car is now actually $62,500. Why would Trump purposefully make things more expensive for Americans? Well, two main reasons. The first is more of a longer-term, unguaranteed benefit, but it would be to change consumer habits to buy more American-made products and incentivize more international companies to manufacture in the US. In theory, that means a stronger US economy, more stable jobs, and less dependence on foreign countries. The second reason for imposing these tariffs would be to use them as a tool to pressure Canada, Mexico, and China into doing what Trump wants. Some of these things that he's publicly mentioned include renegotiating trade deals, stopping illegal immigration, and the flow of fentanyl. There's also the far-fetched idea of Canada becoming a state of America. But here's where things get interesting, because instead of just doing what Trump wants, Canada has clapped back with a 25% tariff of their own, and Mexico said they're doing the same but haven't announced the percentage yet. China reacted a little differently by preparing to file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization. So why is Trump not backing down? Just listen to this. In 2023, Canada sent 76% of all of their exports to the United States. That accounts for roughly 19% of their entire GDP. In 2024, Mexico sent 78% of all of their exports to the United States. That makes up 37% of their entire GDP. But for America, their exports to both countries combined only make up roughly 2.7% of their entire GDP. So simply put, even if they do retaliate, getting into a tariff war with the United States would hit Canada and Mexico much harder. Trump knows this, and he's using it.
Which is smart on his part, to better America first. So again, this is not a bad thing in my opinion.
It's business.
Exactly. It's a business. I mean, we've been taken advantage of for far too long, and Donald Trump knows that too. So he's finally doing something for us, the American people, this country, and people want to complain about it. It's insane if you ask me. So yeah, you supportive of these tariffs at all?
Yeah.
Pretty good idea.
I understood the reason why.
Yeah.
I want to understand what. I understand everything. Except for what in the hell is China doing?
They're just taking a different approach, I guess.
Okay,
But
let's sue the World Trade Organization. Yeah, there's a chance that you might not get anything out of it.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
I ain't worried about it. Oh well.
You know what? That's not my problem.
But Trump's being a big meanie.
Canada should become the 51st state of the United States, and I'll give you a good reason why. We practically pay for them anyway.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Why should we?
It's like, go ahead. I'll say it in a second.
We're protecting them. They're paying. Canada's part of NATO, right?
Yes.
Why in the hell would they not want to become part of the United States?
No.
Well, you know.
Whatever. I don't care.
Between them, the only difference is their Navy rides horses and ours ride tanks.
Damn. Well, no, I thought it was funny this week. There's all these videos going around of liquor stores who are pulling American alcohol bottles off of their shelves. But the funny thing is, they're already there. They're already bought and paid for. You're just
I don't
screwing
know
yourself.
what you're doing?
You might as well sell it and make your money back, or some of it. So it's like, this made no sense. Then they signed these. We're not going to be selling alcohol anymore. Yay! And they were passing it around like an executive order and stuff. I'm going, you already bought it.
I
don't get that part. Like, you've already bought it. Like, what are we?
You know what I mean?
I do think the Mounties should be just one step above the police.
Clearly, you never watched the Big Boss Man versus the Mountie in the WWE. Yeah, great rivalry.
All jokes aside, Canada should do what they want.
They are doing what they want.
And they're going to find out is what's going to happen.
I do agree on the tariffs. Trump needs to do something to get our respect back.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just give everything away and get nothing in return. That's all Trump's asking for is fairness.
Just a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah, and it's not just these countries. It's like Europe. A lot of places are taking advantage of us like this.
And the other countries are whining because they have taken advantage of us.
Yeah, and now they're mad, and Canada right now is mad because they're no longer able to take advantage of us, and now they're going to start to feel the economic effects of it. That's why they're mad. It's nothing that Trump is doing wrong. It's just that their meal ticket's drying up, as it should. I mean, it's our money. I mean, good for Trump for sticking to his guns here. Speaking of sticking to his guns, the fallout from the Oval Office debacle with Ukrainian President Zelensky continued this week as the leftist media tried to paint this like Donald Trump and J.D. Vance ambushed Vladimir Zelensky here. But one little thing the media isn't telling you is how much Zelensky even disrespected Joe Biden under his administration. Here's a report talking about that very thing.
Yeah, that's right, Kate. So in this conversation, President Biden
Kinda
called
quiet.
President Zelensky to tell him about a roughly $1 billion package of additional equipment and weapons for the Ukrainian military coming from the United States. During the course of the call, President Zelensky continued, according to a number of officials who we spoke with who are familiar with the call, President Zelensky continued to talk about the additional equipment and weapons and support that he and his military needed. According to these officials, they said that President Biden finally just got frustrated and lost his temper and told President Zelensky, look, you could be a little bit more grateful. The reason that this story is interesting to us and is something that we are reporting on and officials were speaking to us about is because it shows that all these months ago, President Biden already realized that there was going to be a point where the American people, members of Congress, where people would start potentially pushing back on all these billions and billions of dollars of aid. And
Now, I want to say this one time and one time only. So get your ears ready for this. Joe Biden was right on that.
Yep.
Because that time when the Americans are finally fed up with the money being sent to Ukraine, it's here. And it's interesting that he used the term that Zelensky could be more grateful. That's exactly what Trump and Vance told him.
Yeah,
so y'all want to get on to Trump, but Biden was saying the same shit to him. You know what I'm saying? So, by the way,
I don't feel sorry for Zelensky anymore.
No, nor should we. And this is exactly why. Despite all of that, leftists, for whatever reason, seem to dig their heels in and back the Ukrainian dictator because for some reason, Democrats feel it's our duty to back this man. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't know that he was also a dictator? Then explain to me why Vladimir Zelensky refuses to hold presidential elections, or why he bans opposition views from the media, or why he jails Christians and priests and churchgoers, or why he's literally kidnapping able-bodied men to fight in his war without their consent. Oh, you on the left and Democrats didn't know that? J.D. Vance literally mentioned it during the Oval Office incident last week. And here's some video of that happening where he's kidnapping men from his country to fight in the war against their will.
Forced mobilization. Right now in Ukraine, young men are getting nabbed on the street, thrown into cars, and beaten because the Ukrainian military needs them to fight this trashy proxy war the West has facilitated. This woman in red is his mother. These videos paint a picture that is unspoken here in America. Your Ukrainian flags, and I stand with Zelensky, you're being fed Western pro-war lies and you're helping to spread them. We are lucky this isn't currently happening in America, but if it were, and that was your son or your husband getting thrown into a van off the street while walking home from work, I bet you wouldn't be so pro-war. You know, human rights are more important than your political bias. Be prepared. This is the real world right now, and many American citizens are completely blind to the reality.
And all of that is before he's demanded that he wants to be a part of NATO. And I'm not saying Putin is good either, okay? Two things can be true at once. Both leaders are bad in my opinion, but I can at least understand why Putin is upset in this particular situation. I want you to look at this video I found of NATO's advancement toward Russia over the last 4 decades. It puts things into a bit of perspective here. Now, this video is going to start with Russia obviously occupying Ukraine back in the 1980s. And then you're going to see all these countries turn white. But then you're going to slowly start to see the blue countries, the dark blue countries, inch closer and closer to Russia. So you can maybe start to see why Russia and Vladimir Putin is starting to become a little bit anxious. Turn off the audio because you don't need to see that. Let me pull this up a little bit better here. But anyway, you can see here, see all these countries start to turn blue? That's when they start to sign agreements with NATO. The dark blue are NATO countries. Watch, they all start to turn darker blue, moving closer and closer to Russia in the last 4 decades. That's all I'm saying here. I mean, and then, of course, it leads us to the current day here when you're going to see the arrow pointed at Ukraine. So as you can see, over time, they've inched their way closer and closer to Russia. Now, one could argue that the reason all the Western nations joined NATO was because of Russian aggression. Or is Russia being aggressive because the last 40 years NATO has been inching closer and closer to its borders? So who is the actual aggressor here? Again, I'm not saying Putin is good either. But the left love to say NATO is designed to be a defensive organization. But then you got the UK Prime Minister this last week saying that they are going to be putting boots on the ground and planes in the air to defend Ukraine, who is not a NATO country, and NATO has no place in defending it.
Yeah.
Because of that fact.
Eric, can you spend 1 second on that map for a second?
Okay.
This is a serious topic. Look how big Russia is compared to Ukraine.
Of course. And Ukraine used to be a part of Russia under the old Soviet Union.
There in Trump's office going, you don't know how to play cards. You don't know how to play cards. Russia's got a lot more manpower than you do right now.
Oh, definitely.
He needs to realize where he's at. Now, I'm not supporting Russia in any way in this comment by me saying this, but there has to be some kind of comment. And he's going to have to realize that he can't bully the nations around Russia to do what Russia wants.
Like, here's the thing. You're not going to solve anything by doing that. As you can see, when you showed up this map or whatever, you're right. It's every year they get closer. It's like they got closer and closer. The part of the whole agreement was for him to stay out of where he was at, Russia be where it was NATO would not come any closer. Right. And then it was like every time it was like on purpose, the NATO would get a little closer. So you got from his point of view, the walls are closing in on a situation that it should have never closed in on. Like we were fine, but now that you're getting closer and closer, like what do you expect him?
What do you want me to do? Yeah. The whole agreement was based on you wouldn't do this, and now you're doing it.
And you do it.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't blame Putin for doing what he's doing.
Well, again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm pro-Russia or I'm pro-Putin. Because, again, I don't agree with a lot of things he's done. And, obviously he's killed his political opposition. He's killed a lot of innocent Ukrainians. Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, when you've got NATO countries that are defending a non-NATO nation, and Zelensky's also saying things like Americans will be forced to fight and die because of their involvement with NATO after they get involved and put boots on the ground and planes in the air. And NATO countries in Europe are the ones pushing this war and apparently are the ones who want to continue to do it. It would make total sense if Donald Trump pulls out of NATO because before they enact Article 5 and drag the United States into this World War II or World War III in this case, I guess. But so here's an explanation of that.
The UK is prepared to back this.
Here's the UK Prime Minister.
Boots on the ground and planes in
The United States of America needs to get the fuck out of NATO with the quickness, because this is going to start a world war. The UK does what they said, we're definitely going to have a world war. Because the UK said they're going to put boots on the ground and planes in the air. That means those are going to be NATO boots on the ground and NATO planes in the air. And if Russia unalives those NATO boots on the ground or shoots down those NATO planes in the air, which is absolutely going to fucking happen, the UK would call Article 5 immediately, and we would have a world war. NATO is causing a world war. Seems like NATO wants a world war, and America needs to stay the fuck out of it. If NATO wants to go to war over a country that's not even part of our alliance, America has no fucking place in it. Because Russia didn't attack NATO. Russia attacked Ukraine, a non-NATO country. And while I don't think they should be invading any country, NATO has no fucking place in this. So if the UK wants to do this, they better do this as themselves, because this is not NATO's business. And America cannot allow itself to be drawn into a war that doesn't need to fucking happen. So with the UK announcing this, I hope Trump comes out tomorrow and announces our withdrawal from NATO. Because I was pretty fucking opposed to spending American money in Ukraine, but I'm 100% opposed to spending American lives.
Absolutely. So to be honest, the Democrats in our own country are bigger threats to our country than Putin is at this moment, if you ask me. All I'm saying is don't automatically assume it's Vladimir Putin who's instigating all this simply because the news or certain politicians say so. Because based on this map, maybe that's not exactly the case. And remember, a lot of those politicians and news agencies are getting funding from like places over here, okay, to say this stuff, to make you believe it's a righteous cause. Just saying. So again, you always got to question whether or not the good guys that they tell you are the good guys are actually the good guys, and whether or not the bad guys are actually the bad guys here. This is it's called the fog of war. It's a thing. So yeah. Anyway, moving on from that little dire topic, let's get into some of the meteor stuff from this week. The speech and spell. All right, so let me introduce you first to Democrat Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett, who I'd never even heard of before the last few weeks. But she's quickly trying to take the trophy of dumbest Democrat away from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. She said some dumb stuff in previous weeks, including how government is not in the business of handing out money. Let's let that one sink in for a second. She said government is not in the business of handing out money. I'm sorry, Ukraine says what? And then she said that $5,000 refund checks that Doge is discussing giving out to the American people, Ms. Crockett says it wouldn't help anyone. Clearly, she's never lived paycheck to paycheck.
Hold on, Eric.
Yeah.
You're wrong. The government's not in the business of handing Americans money.
That's true. Yeah.
But
she didn't
anybody else
specify.
is free game, just
Right.
not Americans.
Yeah.
Apparently, Americans are too stupid with money that we can't handle it or something, because they'll never give it to us.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're not wrong. She didn't specify that, but that's exactly right. That's what she wants to say, Is all that money is going to her and her, colleagues is most likely what's happening, our taxpayer dollars. But the cherry on top of all that stupidity, this week, this congresswoman legitimately called the president the enemy. Let's listen to this when she was on MSNBC, another propaganda network.
So, unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House?
Oh my God.
Because you don't believe that elections should take place? I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to...
Well, you're right about one thing. You have no idea and don't understand what's going on. You're right about that. You're right about that, Miss Crockett. But this, for me, I'm sorry, it's not acceptable behavior for a sitting member of Congress. And I understand the Democrats are too brain dead to be embarrassed on her behalf, but she should be censured by Speaker of the House Mike Johnson as well. You can disagree with political parties, and you can disagree with the president even, but what you cannot do as a congressperson is sit on national television and call the president the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
It's remarks like this that make all sense of unity completely impossible to achieve in this country nowadays. It just is. You want us to come together with these people who are calling their opposition because we don't agree with them the enemy?
Eric, this was why us owning the House majority and the Senate majority was very important, because of morons just like her.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Bernie Sanders and the Elizabeth Warrens and the Congress from Minnesota, they're not going to stop. They're going to just do this until they commit career suicide.
Or they're made to stop by, because they're breaking the law or something. They got to go to jail for it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's why I said earlier, I want to see some more career smearing. This is why.
Like I said, she's doing a good job of that herself, though.
I know.
The best thing you can do right now is to get out of the Democrats' way and let them bury themselves, because they're doing a great job of that.
All right, continue.
Yeah, we're about done. But yeah, let's get into the meaty stuff for this week. Like I said, what else is not acceptable to me? A UN report on violence against women and girls revealed that more than 600 female athletes have been beaten by male competitors in women's sports. Female athletes also lost nearly 900 medals to males identifying as trans. Think about that.
Yeah.
Every single Democrat senator just voted to allow this to continue, and because this particular bill needs 60 votes to pass, it failed. So the next time a Democrat tells you they care about women, remember, that's a flat-out lie. Simple as that. And then these people have the nerve to protest that Donald Trump is the one against women. But they accidentally admitted the quiet part out loud during this little protest here where they said that Trump betrays women. Here's what they had to say. Listen closely to what they said here, talking about the truth out loud.
You don't care about this country, and that is unacceptable if you claim to be the president of the United States. So we are here. We are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to fight back, and we are going to continue to speak lies to his truth, to his stealing.
Did you hear that? We're going to continue to speak lies to his truth. Well, you're not wrong on that one.
Okay.
Man.
Talk about your Freudian slips. Man, oh man.
Open mouth and insert foot.
Yeah, another woman I've never heard of here from California, but great job there. Hey, they told the truth. What do you know?
I just want to know what they're all smoking down there in California, Newsom and all them. I mean, it must be something insane, because they aren't in touch with reality.
No, the reality left them people a long time ago. Yeah, but then,
they're probably never going to win election again.
Probably not.
It ain't going to happen for a while if they keep this up.
Yeah,
that's not, because it's going to take a few generations to kind of get the stink off and new politicians coming forward proving they're trustworthy before voters will trust them again.
Aaron, it's going to be a while.
I hope so. And hopefully this country gets course corrected during that time.
That's
because
probably
they're burying themselves.
When he said that we will never need to vote again, this is probably what he meant.
Because they're going to hopefully correct it to where by the time they get their ducks in a row, the country will be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll take them another 50 years to try to destroy it.
Not
by
saying
then,
he's going to be a dictator or become a king or anything like that. No,
right.
that was just a troll.
Yeah. Yeah. And Trump's never actually said, I'm going to be a king anyway. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, exactly. That's kind of what Trump's talking about here, I think. Not to mention, then they wear pink at the presidential joint address to Congress to gaslight the American people into believing they care about women. And by the way, the one to the left of the purple-haired gremlin is a man. That's Sarah McBride, who is transitioned to a woman.
Please tell me that you have the
what?
You don't have the thing I sent you with the green monster.
No, not with the purple-haired gremlin. I think her name's Rosa DeLuca or something like that. I can't remember her name, but yeah. But anyway, Democrats don't actually care about women when they are murdered by illegal aliens. They don't care about girls assaulted in locker rooms. The only thing they care about when it comes to women is their ability to murder their sons and daughters in the womb. And they somehow got a percentage of this country to believe that's medical care. And that's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get in. Is Miranda coming back? What happened to Miranda? Is she good?
No, her computer's freezing up on her. I'm talking to her right now.
Okay, that's cool. Well, we'll continue to truck along here. Hopefully she can get it sorted out. So let's get into the presidential joint address to Congress this week. What was it that Joe Biden always preached to Republicans? Like I said earlier, you can't only be happy when you win. Well, before it even began, Democrats decided they were going to put out a series of scripted videos in preparation of President Trump's speech. They hoped their messaging would go viral, and well, it did, and for all the wrong reasons. And what's ironic is no one in their party stopped to think that this was going to be a bad look. Every single video was worded exactly the same. Let's start out with 3 of them so you can kind of at least hear what they're saying here a little bit.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done enough goose eggs to lower prices. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers on January 6th. He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs, and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data, Social Security numbers, tax returns.
So I think you get the picture there. They're saying everything verbatim, basically, with the same little microphone in their hand, the same visual cues, everything. It's completely scripted and phony. And it wasn't just, it started out with 3 of them. Cory Booker was the first one. Then it morphed into over 20, almost 24 Democrats with the same exact video. All right, since you can't understand that, I won't play the whole thing. But you get the picture here.
Eric,
I mean,
the Social Security thing and them being in charge of all that, I've got a point with that. So they're suddenly now freaking out about that because a couple months ago they were fine with that. We have access to our Social Securities and all that but now all of a sudden when Trump has access to it, oh God, Orange Man has access to it.
Well, they're just afraid that somebody they can't control might have access to it. But again, if Elon wanted to steal your information, he'd have done that when he was running PayPal.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Because you know what? I'm actually fine with a bunch of young people going through all their security information, and I think he should start with them.
Well, not only that, Elon's got more money than God, basically. He don't need yours. I don't have a
problem with what Doge is doing. I don't have a problem with them cutting government programs because, to be honest with you, they're a big waste of money anyway.
Most of them.
But they have a problem with it.
Take our tax dollar money.
But that's the thing, Matt. They have a problem with it,
and they don't care about us. They care about
it's not about you.
No.
It has nothing to do with you. They give a fuck less about your security. That's not it. They're not the ones benefiting off of it anymore. So
that's
now it's an
my
issue.
point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And hold on, real quick. Miranda's computer is acting funky, so she's gonna bring it up here. And I'm gonna run a diagnostic on it and shit. So she says she's sorry.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. We'll try our best to move on. Unfortunately, that's a shame. But we had issues last week too. But we'll make it through. I'll just keep going and hopefully you can talk. Go ahead here.
I don't know about all you, but gas prices have been going down.
Yeah, it's dropped like 40 cents here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I wonder maybe it's in like Democrat-run states.
Yeah, because their policies are garbage. Yeah,
but
probably
out here in Indiana, which Indiana is kind of in the middle, but our gas prices are going down. So,
yeah. I mean, that could just be normal, ebbs and flow a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that Democrats have no idea what an original thought is. They think this truly shows unity, but what it actually shows is groupthink and characteristics of a hive mind mentality.
Yeah.
Plus, it was just a bunch of lies they made up anyway. They whined about inflation, the price of eggs and gas, Elon waving a chainsaw around, etc. Yet none of this outrage was happening during Bidenomics. For 4 years, no one was screaming at Biden for driving inflation through the roof, but Trump said he'd lower costs on day one as their argument. No, Trump said he'd lower costs starting on day one. Huge ass difference. And he's done things that will do just that with time. Mainly getting our energy issues in line, which is going to bring down costs. And then Democrats say Trump lied because he didn't bring costs down on the very first day. Do these people know what an expression is? Or a figure of speech? Because that's what Trump was using when he said that. But Democrats never miss an opportunity to blame the Orange Man for sure.
Yes, Orange Man bad.
And Brandon Slar, the assassin, said, tell Miranda I'll miss her. So hopefully she'll come back. If not, she'll definitely be back next week. Hopefully we'll get all this sorted out for certain. But sucks to have her here because we definitely love her during the politics section, no doubt. We'll love to have her on here all the time. But politics is where she shines a bit more. I think she just likes it more, pays more attention to it. But as for the speech itself, let's be honest here. Trump's speech could have gone on for 3 hours simply listing what he's already done in the first month. We've gone over all the wins on this channel over the last 6 weeks. But last year, Biden's biggest achievement and only achievement was that he made it through the speech to begin with.
That's wild.
Now, within a minute into Trump's speech, Democrat Representative Al Green, who is already drafting articles of impeachment against Donald Trump for absolutely no reason whatsoever, was escorted out by the House Sergeant of Arms for refusing to sit down and letting the president speak. He's the first representative in history to be removed during a presidential address. So here's the video of that moment where he was asked to be escorted out by the House Sergeant of Arms.
Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber. Members are...
So, total nonsense, total absolute chaos and ridiculousness here from Al Green. But 2 days later, the House of Representatives voted 224 to 198 to also censure deranged Al Green, which is basically a public shaming for his actions. Not one single Democrat voted to condemn this behavior when they voted to move forward with the censure proceedings.
That was that's you know what? That's the first smart thing they've ever done.
What, not voting for it?
To making sure that he, you know what I'm trying to say?
Has been put out there publicly of being shamed, you mean? Censored? He's not the first Democrat that's had to do that.
But the Democrats are like, all right, well, he needs to shut up.
Well, no Democrat voted for it yet. Now, when the vote actually happened, this was just a vote to, allow a vote to happen, basically. No Democrats voted against him there.
Okay.
Now when the vote happened, when the vote actually happened to censure him, 10 Democrats voted against him to say you need to be held accountable.
And I would like to know what 10 Democrats did that.
I mean, you could probably look it up. I don't have them off the top of my head here, but yeah.
I'll look into it.
But Al Green is now the fourth Democrat to be censured in recent years. But the proceeding was once again delayed by Democrat nonsense. Here are the Democrats singing "We Shall Overcome" during the censure proceedings when they got, basically put Al Green in his place here.
Representative Al Green forthwith present himself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker.
They look like a bunch of goddamn hoos.
The House has come to order. The House has come to order.
So these people just want to paint themselves as the victims here, or as martyrs, however you want to look at it. Most Democrats actually defend Al Green's actions. DEI Democrat Representative Latifah Simon from California, another crazy Democrat that I've never heard of before these last few weeks, has also accused Republicans of racism for asking Al Green to sit down as he rudely interrupted President Trump.
I watched it. No.
You can't make this up.
Seems like a blatant disrespect for the House, and it wasn't coming from Representative Green. It was coming from the men behind him on the right side who were telling him and yelling, "Sit down." I mean, it felt like I was watching something in a history class of racists yelling at an elderly black man challenging the President of the United States not to cut medical care for the sick.
Brandon?
We'll get that in a second.
Hey, Matt, Miranda said that's the perfect time for that picture.
I know, but she's there going on national TV.
Wild.
I figured Brandon might like that one. Aaron probably gets a kick
You know
out of
they
it
were.
too.
You know they were singing. There was a slave song they were singing.
Yeah, we shall overcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
black. But they need to. But they need to.
I'm not sure his exact ethnicity, but they're claiming race card either way.
I thought he was Native American. I'm going to be honest.
No, I thought he was Mexican the first time I seen him. No, he's apparently black.
I love how Miranda's like a little troll on Brandon's shoulder right now.
They can see you.
But they should
That broke me.
Stop doing. Just stop.
You know,
stop doing this.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard that's what happened, I knew they were going to throw it and make it a race thing. I
Always.
And that's probably the reason why they used him, is because we can
Yeah.
throw a race card.
And the fact that he said dastardly deeds before. Wild.
Yeah, exactly.
Wild.
That's why he's trying to impeach Trump for his dastardly deeds that he's yet to do.
And you might show this or whatever. But I've seen a lot of the comparisons of the time that Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled.
Yeah, about to get into that. Yep.
But I was like, she shut up though.
Exactly.
She said what she said and she shut up.
And I'm about to get into that too.
Like their fourth banana today.
Oh, his kids.
Wow. While we're talking about black people, crazy work, Aaron.
Totally unintentional. That's messed up. But yes, this obviously must have been racism, right? Not the complete lack of decorum that Al Green was showing on the floor. But this is the problem. Racism, in my opinion, is not the issue the left and mainstream media make it out to be. Is it still an issue? Of course.
Yes.
But some people choose to make it an issue when it's not.
Yes.
Either they don't want to take accountability for their actions, they can't defend an argument, trying to get sympathy by playing the victim, or all of the above, which belittles real racism.
Yep.
Case in point right here with Al Green, who has also now come out and said he feels he was kicked out of the floor due to racism as well.
No.
That's what he's saying.
Because I watched the entire speech myself.
You were warned twice.
Three times.
Three times.
What was it?
That's on you.
He was born. He was warned by J.D. Vance even.
Yeah. Well, now and as Brandon alluded to here, Democrats and leftists online want to use the argument, well, what about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert when they shouted during Biden's speech last year, and maybe I think even a year before that a little bit? The fact that they can't tell the difference is absurd. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene
is laughing next to him, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, Byron Donalds? Yeah, it's Byron Donalds.
Cracking the fucking, you see his face?
Yeah, he's like, holy shit.
The shout. The entire administration under Biden was totally incompetent.
I'm not going to defend the fact that they did it during the speech, because you probably shouldn't be doing that.
They did.
But I agree with what they were shouting. Yeah.
At the same time, but they weren't warned either.
Well, here's the thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert yelled out, but here's the difference. They stopped and sat back down.
Mm-hmm.
Al Green would not sit and would not stop. Al Green didn't just heckle. He got out of his seat, yelled repeatedly, waved his cane around, ignored the speaker again. Then he ignored the speaker a third time and did so with the intention of being removed and being a self-victim.
Yes, that's what that was about.
And if this is going to continue, they should continue to do this more often. If they're going to do this and act like little children, then they're going to get escorted out.
But that was his Rosa Parks moment.
Mm-hmm. He wanted that to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
That was. But
don't besmirch Rosa Parks like that.
No, I'm saying, but that's what this was. Like
he wants it to be that. Yeah.
You gotta understand. You gotta understand from the lenses of the people that follow these people without fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
They achieved their job. Like he did what he got across. He's a martyr. You get what I'm saying? Like he got kicked out by the racist fascists, and it wasn't even him that kicked him out, which is crazy. But
racist.
But optically, you got to understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
And they nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
If nothing else, the performance was the performance. It was all an act, and you could clearly see that. But it doesn't matter for the people who are just trying to follow them blindly. As it is, they won the narrative war here.
Yeah.
And that's
like,
the one
see, they're
thing
racist.
But if you follow that, then
that's what they have, and that's what works for them because they've been able to pull it off successfully with stunts like that.
Exactly.
Optically, that shit looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just that far right to where I'm just like I don't see the issue. Maybe that's what it is. Because
no, you're seeing it the way it's supposed to be seen.
Because here's the thing: if we're gonna act like little children, then you're going to be treated like little children.
Yeah, what happened to him was supposed to happen to him.
Right.
But again, the only reason it's fucking news is because they're trying to paint a picture of one person, and this supports that painting. Like,
yes,
yeah,
this is all tapestry work here. Like, and that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon nailed that one for certain. Now, if you notice during the rest of Trump's speech, there were also plenty of other outbursts by Democrats, but none of them were kicked out or censored. They were letting that go plenty of times. So, and Trump, by the way, regardless of what they're all saying, he isn't cutting medical care for the sick. That's a lie.
No,
here's a Trump
said that.
He's not cutting Medicaid.
No.
So quit that shit.
Yeah, just stop it. Here he is in his own words saying that's not happening. Medicaid, Social Security, Medicare, none of that's being touched.
The spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. It won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases, and that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. So
there it is, right from his own mouth. We're not going to touch it. Now, he said next time it won't be read my lips. It's going to be kiss my ass. You keep asking him the same question over and over again.
Yeah.
Because he's answered this 1,000 times.
Eric, see, that was another. I guarantee that reporter was from MSNBC.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yes, because let me tell you something. They have been asking Trump. It's like they're fishing.
Oh yeah, they're just trying to get a soundbite, or they're trying to paint him into a corner. That's all they're doing. It's not journalism.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to corner his cabinet yet, because they're really pushing it. And I've been listening to this a lot, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to touch Medicaid. Medicaid will not be touched. He was reiterating multiple times.
Now, let me say this though. Trump is not touching these benefits for American citizens.
Right.
If you're talking about Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security from illegals, yeah, he's going to get rid of that.
Right. Yeah. He said he's going to look for fraud.
Yeah, which illegals have no right to these benefits to begin with, which is what these Democrats think is the same thing as giving it to legal citizens. It's not. They think no one is illegal. These people are out of their minds. They say Trump is going to take away Social Security for seniors, yet he literally ran on not taxing Social Security, meaning that Social Security is still going to exist. It's hard to tell sometimes if these Democrats are just stupid or can't see the distinction, or they're just liars. Probably a bit of both columns, but more often than not, they know what they're doing. They know they're lying, and Trump's not going to touch any of this stuff, but they say it anyway because it fits their narrative of making him look bad. That's all there is to it.
Like I told you, the comparison remains the same. If you want to make him look like a fascist, you have to push the lie that he is. If you want to make him look like a dictator, you have to push the lie that he is. So they try to get him in these compromising situations.
Yes.
And like, again, when you talk to him directly to get the answer, there should be no more questions about that shit. But if you want to keep fear-mongering people, you have to keep reminding them this is what you should be afraid of.
Yeah, absolutely. And and for some people it works, but hopefully I think the majority of Americans are waking up to the act nowadays. So now as for Al Green, it was widely explained to all of us that if you interrupt an official proceeding at the Capitol, then you are participating in insurrection. So therefore, based on the standards they themselves set, any Democrats interrupting the presidential address should be arrested and prosecuted for an insurrection, correct? Remember, there was a catch-all felony that Democrats used to land many January 6ers in prison and carries a maximum of 20 years in prison for obstruction of an official proceeding. So if you want to hold everybody to the same standards here...
wild.
Just saying.
Brandon must have just now noticed it.
Huh?
Brandon just now noticed it.
Oh, no, I think he was talking about the
no, I'm talking about that picture.
Oh, the picture.
Yeah.
Al Green's toddler antics certainly qualifies as obstructing an official proceeding. So, again, if you want to hold to the same standards you yourself set, maybe Al Green should be going to jail. Maybe. But they're not going to hold him to that. Because, you know, different when you're a Democrat. Different for Democrat.
That's
for certain.
Crazy picture.
Any other thoughts on Al Green? We got another
dastardly deeds.
Dastardly deeds. We got one more tab here. Seems like we're dropping like flies here on the channel. Hopefully you guys will stick with me for a few more minutes here while I wrap up. Hold on.
We're losing people.
Yeah, I know. They're dropping like flies, man. Where are they all going?
If the rain is coming down or whatever, it might be getting shitty weather-wise out.
I hope not. But once the vocal protest did not work from Al Green, the Democrats then resorted to the silent protest with T-shirts that said resist and these signs that they made up. These auction bidder-looking signs said the words false, lies, Musk steals, and save Medicaid. You know, just because you hold up signs, that doesn't make it true, though. So they say that, you know, that Trump lies all the time. They love to say that. But everything they're asked to explain, or every time they're asked to explain how Trump lied, they can't give you an answer or one that doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Musk steals? The only thing Elon Musk is stealing is their laundered money. Absolute clown show.
You can't say this is a spontaneous protest when you have custom-made ping pong paddles for the shit. Like, let's be real here.
Yeah.
And can you go back to that picture previously, bud? Real quick.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
The chick farthest to the left, right?
It looks half asleep.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah.
She holding up her sign like she out of it.
The
one guy, if you look in between, you see the lady in the blue in the seat over from the Musk steals. Now you look directly to her right upwards. You see the guy glancing down. It looks like he's reading the sign from the back. Like, what the fuck does that say?
He looks like Jamie Raskin there. He's got the Joker look on his face right here.
Lady up there is asleep.
Something's funny to him. I don't know what is.
One of them, too. That old man behind here is asleep too.
But again, I say that to say this organized. Like, you know how we get on about wrestling being fake. You give up. You understand the comparison what I'm going with here? Like these antics, they're trying to portray as spontaneous in the moment.
It's a storyline.
Yeah, and it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What makes me laugh is they got signs holding up that says Musk steals and all this other stuff. What was it? 4 years ago, Elon Musk was their idol.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and now they've turned on him so fast it's not even funny.
But that's what happens when your usefulness isn't there anymore. They don't need you, and they can't buy you or use you or manipulate you anymore and you're useless to them, then that's it. You're a target after that.
That's why I titled this episode, "You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain," because this whole podcast had that theme. John Cena was a hero, went to become a villain.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Now it's going to be Dr. Doom. Now you got Trump and Elon Musk, both of which everybody loved. But now they're the villains in a lot of people's eyes because they're standing up for truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't give me enough credit for my podcast, titles
Eric,
here. But anyway,
still won't.
You do a good job.
Yeah, still won't. Yeah, fair enough. But not to mention these disgusting Democrats who found the time to kneel for a criminal by the name of George Floyd in 2020 and somehow want to sound righteous when talking about Trump's fake convictions. These same people couldn't even find it in themselves to stand to their feet and even clap for Laken Riley's family, a young woman who got her head bashed in by a volleyball shot from a male athlete, a firefighter who fostered numerous children, the 95-year-old mother who got her son back from a Russian prison, or the young African-American boy who just survived brain cancer. But I thought
hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, he's funny and crap, dude. Some of these interviews he's been doing, he's a 50-year-old trapped in a 13-year-old's body. You can clearly tell. It's hilarious.
By the way.
Yeah. And by the way, I thought Trump was the racist bigot with no empathy. But you Democrats are sitting on your hands.
They're not standing for the kid and the whole Laken Riley situation.
Or the other woman, I mean, there's plenty of instances they could have stood for.
It makes me mad because that is something in this country that should never have happened.
No,
but that just goes to show you, and it should show everybody else that they genuinely don't care about people.
No.
If one thing, you should all be sympathetic to the fact that this woman lost her child in a very brutal fucking way, but yet you can't even, because you're so caught up in this whole.
That is
it is what it is.
There are certain things that no matter which side of the aisle you are on, we should be able to agree upon. All of these instances I just read off should have been one of those for everybody. But Democrats, because Donald Trump was the one saying it, could not bring themselves to stand and applaud this. Nothing that Trump was talking about with these people, Laken Riley's family, the young woman who got her head bashed in, the firefighter, fostered numerous kids, 95-year-old who got her son back from Russia, or the brain cancer survivor. Every single person in that room should have been on their feet.
That is why the Laken Riley Act is important, is because this does not need to happen again.
No, of course not. But they view it again as, oh, well, you're just getting rid of illegals. They're not illegal. Yeah, they are.
And let me tell you something. If you do not vote for all that to be passed and all that, I don't even know if it is passed yet or not. But
I think that one did pass. Yes,
that one did pass, which doesn't surprise me. Yeah. But
he mentioned it during his speech too.
That is something that in this country should never happen in the first place, and it should never happen again.
Hopefully it won't now, but
regardless if you're Democrat, Republican, Tea Party, I don't give a shit what party you are. That should never happen.
Yeah. This should tell you everything you need to know about Democrats if they can't stand for this stuff. And if that doesn't, this should actually make you never like Democrats again. But they were trying everything in their power to salvage this Democrat debacle by trying to paint Trump in a bad light in regards to this young cancer survivor. They just could not help themselves. Here is MSNBC's Nicole Wallace. She tries to use this moment of this young kid surviving brain cancer to tie Donald Trump to January 6th.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer.
Here it comes.
But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Was that necessary?
Here's the thing. Nobody at that table stopped her from talking.
No. Yeah. They let her spew that.
I've heard whisperings that she may lose her.
She sounded like she was drunk.
Yeah, well.
I've heard rumors that she may get for that.
Here's Rachel Maddow also saying something equally as disgusting. She tries to make Trump out to look like he thought he had something to do with DJ Daniel surviving cancer.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
Okay, we'll get to that part in just a second. But they want to say that Donald Trump was the one trying to politicize this young man? What the hell do you think you two are doing?
That's crazy work.
And in regards to her talking about Trump, cutting funding for medical research, no. Trump's NIH programs are actually a masterstroke in cutting through bureaucratic bloat that has plagued medical research funding for years. If you actually look into it, the Trump administration's new NIH indirect cost rate will actually allow more funding to go towards research rather than inflated university budgets that fund college office parties, DEI staff, and bloated administrative overhead. By redirecting billions from wasteful administrative overhead into actual medical research, Trump is forcing the ivory tower elites to prioritize real cures over cushy administrative jobs. So when the left say that Trump is cutting medical research like this cancer stuff, they're misleading you.
Well, yeah.
But despite Rachel Maddow's lies, here is Donald Trump calling for the resignation for both Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow after these disgusting comments.
Worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign.
So again, everybody on the left loves to say, well, Donald Trump, he's just trying to get rid of his opposition in the press. No, what they're saying is disgusting. It's immoral. It's evil and flat out lying. It's not journalism. It's fake news. It's propaganda, and they should not be anywhere near a network. Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow, The View, Nicole Wallace, Caitlin Collins, you name it. All of these morons should be deplatformed. It's got nothing to do with trying to take away freedom of the press. It's to do with the fact that all they do is spew. Now, they have, I guess, freedom of speech, but they want to sit there and argue about how, Trump spewing misinformation when that's all they do 24/7.
Now, Eric, I was hoping you had more of that clip. I'm sorry that you don't.
What clip?
Before he talks about her, he is praising another reporter that actually asked a legitimately good and very fucking truthful question.
Okay.
To Trump, and he praised that reporter and says, "I want to know where you're from." He actually asked him where he was from because he wanted to praise them for asking a legitimately good question that didn't waste his time.
Yeah, that's good. I'll have to look that up. I've not seen that, so I'll check that out.
His name was Nick something. I can't remember what he called him, but I listened to this whole meeting. So, but yeah, I'll let you continue your podcast.
Okay, cool. Well, hopefully Rachel Maddow, Nicole Wallace, and all those will end up on the unemployment line like their pal Joy Reid. Rachel Maddow was all tore up about it. Well, maybe she can join her. But these people are so disingenuous. They know this stuff they're spewing isn't true, as Brandon pointed out. Also, during Trump's speech, President Trump even announced that a terrorist mastermind behind the Abbey Gate bombing, which killed 13 U.S. service members, had been apprehended and will soon come to America to face justice. But guess what? Democrats didn't stand or clap for that either. In fact, the only time the Democrats stood up and applauded was when Donald Trump mentioned the United States has spent $350 billion on Ukraine. And some people dispute, that's a fake number. It was like $119 billion. Whatever, $119 billion, $350 billion. It's still too much fucking money. That was the only time.
I'm still not convinced that the Democrats are not behind Trump's assassination attempt in Butler.
Well, hopefully we'll find out. Trump said that he got information on that and he may release it. So
I mean, he told the media the other day that the one of the assassins had 6 cell phones. Who the fuck has 6 cell phones?
Burner phones, things like that. Yeah.
I mean, people don't carry 6 cell phones with them.
No, not normally. But people who were working like undercover and things like that, you know.
mean, Trump even said, "I don't even have 6 fucking cell phones."
No,
I mean,
nobody.
I'm just saying, there's something going on.
Oh yeah, there's something weird about it.
And it has to do with I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but it has to have something to do with the DII hires and them not having the airplanes having issues. There's something that
going on.
There's a lot going on. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, the only time they raised up was for when they were spending money on Ukraine. Not that Trump wanted to have peace in Ukraine, but that the war was continuing by spending more money.
Yeah,
that's what they stood up for, which shows you where Democrats' priorities are. And Donald Trump called them out on this during the speech after they did it. You can't see in this clip of them standing up, but you can hear them loudly applaud sending money to Ukraine. Then Trump calls them out on it here. This is hilarious.
With no end in sight, the United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. With no security.
There's the Democrats clapping. And standing, actually, but now they sit back down as well.
You see the speaker in the back shaking his head?
Yeah, because he sees it. J.D. Vance saw it, too.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Now, of course, the media said Trump was using a racial slur there when he called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas, but that's not racist.
Half of America calls her Pocahontas.
Well, listen, the reason why it's not racist, it's actually funny. And the reason why it's not racist, what is racist is lying about your ethnicity for years for personal and professional gain, which Elizabeth Warren actually admitted to, by the way.
Yeah.
You can see there at the bottom, American Indian, she put down as race. If you think Trump calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas is a bigger problem than the fact that Elizabeth Warren falsely claimed to be Native American to advance her career, well, you're probably a journalist.
Yeah. Or you don't know what's going on.
Oh, and Democrats, if you love Ukraine so much, move there and represent them.
Yeah,
you are supposed to be serving the United States of America, not Ukraine. Simple as that.
They go live in Ukraine. I hear it's nice there this time of year when the bombs aren't falling.
These are despicable, evil, demonic people, these Democrats. And like I said, it's going to take a few generations to weed out all these evil demons that we currently have on the left side of this country.
We got a lot of work to do.
They were even so disrespectful that many of them left the speech before it was over. And now imagine if Republicans did that to Joe Biden or Barack Obama.
Oh, we'd be scrutinized for it.
The Democrat Party is filled with nothing but evil, petulant children at this point, and they showed that to the world on Tuesday night.
Oh,
and many,
for sure.
And many, like I said, let them bury themselves because they're doing a bang-up job. And many Democrat voters are putting out videos just like this one, and hopefully this nation is finally coming to its senses. Everybody on the left wants to say, oh, well, Trump voters are regretting their vote now. I hate to tell you, no, we're not. But Democrats certainly are regretting their party based on their actions. Listen to this man's story.
Normally, I put up funny stuff in my videos and in my lives, and I usually don't do politics in my lives. But after last night's speech, I want to say something. I'm a Democrat. I served in the United States Navy, and I'm a Democrat. Did I always vote Democratic way? No. I voted for Obama because in the beginning I thought he was best for me and my nation and my family. I didn't vote for him the second term. And there was no way in hell I was going to vote for Hillary.
Good for you.
I voted Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way in hell I was going to vote for Biden. But many people did, and he won the election. I'm going to say that right out. He won the election. But after what I seen last night, when the kid with brain surgery was announced.
13 brain surgeries, by the way, I think.
Democrat stood up, I realized I'm not a Democrat. I'm a fucking Republican. As soon as I can, I'm going to be switching over from a Democrat to a Republican. Because I don't want to be associated with that fucking shit. How fucking disrespectful can you get? And I hope that all of the younger generation starts to see what I just witnessed. I hope for the next 30 years, it's fucking Republican.
Mm-hmm.
You lost me, Democrats.
They deserve it too.
Farewell.
Like I
Donald
said,
Trump, welcome to the office, and I respect you. Take care.
And there's nothing wrong with admitting what this man just admitted.
but like I said before, Eric, the Republicans they have a lot of young. There's a lot of young Republicans that are here that are in office right now.
Common sense Republicans.
And let me tell you something that terrifies the Democrats. Because they know that youth scares them. Because they know.
Well, they have some youth on there, but a lot of them are moronic, like AOC.
But Eric, the youth's not going to listen to nonsense.
Oh, you talking about other? I thought you meant like the Democrat youth.
What I'm saying is you got JD Vance, who's sitting there, who I think could make a wonderful president.
Yeah, he's won me over.
I
now
mean,
let's calm down on that one for now. But yes, maybe eventually.
I think in the future, so far, I'll say that so far, he's done a great job. Now that could change.
Yeah, of course.
But it's always subject to change. But I'm just saying, compared to what the Democrats have shown us the last 4 years and the last previous regimes, lies and mistrust have dominated their they've had the office and they've showed people that they've not done anything with it.
Yeah, it's like I said, you want to preach to us about the inflation of eggs and gas, but what did you guys do with it for 4 years? Absolutely jack and squat.
Nothing.
Well, yeah,
nothing.
They killed over 250 million chickens, right?
Yeah, but yet it's Trump's fault. And I'm not saying the killing of the chickens maybe you needed to do for the bird flu. Fine, whatever. But you can't sit there and turn around and say, oh, well, Trump brought up the price of eggs. No.
It was not Trump's fault. Trump was forced out.
He's been there 45 days.
I will use this word. Trump was really forced out of his second term. He was robbed of his second term.
Absolutely, he was.
Not just because of voter fraud, but because of they had all this shit stacked against him on purpose.
Yeah.
Which, let me tell you something. Fauci hasn't gotten his yet, but that's coming.
Well, maybe at the state level, but yeah. But I'm with this guy here. He said something in this video where he said, I'm a Democrat, but have I always voted Democrat? No, I'm the same way. Look, any normal common sense human being who has a brain on their head, if your party goes too far, you're allowed and should walk away from it. It's like I always say, look, if Donald Trump were, let's hypothetically say this. Let's say if he were to become Hitler, you damn right I'll absolutely walk away from him and I'll fight against him. But he's not.
No.
If a Democrat, if God willing, I'm still around in 30 years or whatever, comes around and speaks common sense and the Republicans sound idiotic, I'll vote for the Democrat.
Yeah.
But right now, Democrats have batshit crazy. They've lost it.
Look how many people have left their party, though.
Yeah. Hell, even on Trump's own cabinet, R.F. Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Elon, But everyone on the left wants to talk about what'd she say?
My own family because
Yeah, like don't talk to think about like what you're saying, like walking away from situation. Yeah, thinking about real life. How many situations you walk away from or people you cut off because of why wouldn't I if you don't do the things that you say you were going to do and you turn out to be the complete opposite of what no, it's a wrap.
At some point you gotta say, no, you're not telling me the truth. Yeah.
That's not it's not about political lines at that fucking point. It's literally like what's best for you, your country, and I don't understand how that's not everybody's forethought.
Yeah, it should be. If you're smart, just sticking to party lines because, oh, vote blue no matter who, that's idiotic.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, vote red, whatever, till I'm dead. That's idiotic too. If someone's speaking common sense and truth, you go that way. And hope to God they don't, and hope to God they live up to their promises, which is few and far between in politics.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone on the left, I'll wrap this up. Everyone on the left wants to talk about how Trump is far right MAGA. In reality, and I've been saying this for years, in reality, Trump is moderate. He's actually, remember, he's former Democrat. But every single Democrat right now is far left. Everybody wants to say, every Republican is far right. Oh, they're MAGA. No. Most people on the right are common sense middle ground moderates at this point.
Yeah.
The left are out to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
People need to wake up and realize exactly how our political landscape is at this current moment, because many people don't see it for how it actually is. They say, the left is common sense and the right is far right. No, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
They're just so far disconnected from reality
and
from the American people. And that show display of protest at the congressional joint session just shows it.
Yeah.
It really shows it.
Yeah. And Democrat voters, let me end on this. Let me ask you this. Why would you still vote for these demons who can't even applaud or stand for the most basic of things that both sides should have no problem supporting? It just goes to show how far the Democrat Party has fallen. And I say, let this Democrat Party lie there. And I'll end the show on that. Slara in the comments section, thank you for sticking through it with this whole show for us. She says, I guess it's Miranda and Aaron's turn for technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Miranda had a computer issue and Aaron lost the internet, I think. So hopefully we'll get that resolved and they'll be back. But yeah, it does happen. Luckily, we got a good crew here, I think. As long as like 2 or 3 of us are still able to mosey on, I think we'll do okay. But I think, hopefully those won't happen all the time. But yeah. So that'll do it for the show tonight. Anybody else have any other thoughts before we end the show this evening?
No,
you pretty much nailed it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. So it's been a long week. It had a lot of interesting things to talk about, especially in the world of politics. So thank you guys so much for watching. For you 86 or so who stuck with us throughout this entire show, thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
And anybody who may be finding this later, thank you so much for watching as well. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. Help us get our numbers up, get our subscriber base up, and get the clicks on these videos to help us grow over here. And also, don't forget to follow us on X. You can find the descriptions for that right at the bottom of the screen or in the description box below as well. So next week, I think we'll be back for another show. And I think we're good for a few more weeks, unless something comes up. But I think we got a few more weeks of shows coming up, as long as everybody else is still down for it. If not, hopefully they'll let me know, and I'll let you guys know on the YouTube channel community tab if that were the case. But for now, I think we're all good. So we'll take off for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next week, take care. And as always, God bless.
Yep.
Later. If I can, I got to find the outro. And there we go.